Alright, listen up. This video is the ultimate supercut, a massive compilation of every chapter I've dropped for this series so far. If you've been riding with the squad since day one, skip ahead to where you left off. But if you're fresh to the channel, brace yourself, you just stumbled upon absolute peak fiction. One of the hottest manhwas out right now, narrated by yours truly. Honestly, I'm just gonna let the masterpiece speak for itself. But first, smash that like button and drop a comment to feed the algorithm. Let's get into it. The nightmare begins in a rotting, derelict shack. Inside, the air is thick with violence, as a husband and wife are being savagely beaten by a gang of ruthless loan sharks. One of the thugs had already grabbed a searing hot clothing iron and pressed it against the husband's lap-burning flesh. Blood streamed down the man's face as he begged through the agony. "Please, just give me one more month, I swear I'll pay it back." But the gang leader, still gripping that scorching iron, just smirked and said, "If you owe other people, start selling your organs. That's what someone who actually wants to pay does." He grabbed the father by the throat. Hovering the hot iron inches from his face, he whispered, "Maybe if you feel some pain, you'll finally understand the suffering of the people you owe." But right as he was about to brand the man's face, his eyes snapped to the wife. She was trembling, hyperventilating, furiously typing something on her phone. The boss snatched the device, instantly barking, "What do you think you're doing?" Calling the cops, chatting with a ghost. He glanced at the screen and froze. She was texting her son. The text read, "Mom, where are you? I can't reach you." She had just finished typing her reply, "Son, do not come home." But before she could hit send, the shark confiscated the phone. The warning never went through. A twisted, sadistic idea sparked in the leader's mind. He sneered, "Why kill them now if they have a son? Let's have some real fun with the kid." The parents broke down sobbing. They screamed for the gang to leave their boy out of this, but their pleas hit a stone wall. The boss ordered his goons, "Shut them up, not a sound. If the kid hears anything, he might get spooked and run." They gagged the parents and bound them to the wall. Right on cue, the son arrived. A high school student named Kang Sung-woo. And folks, this is the main character energy we've been waiting for. The moment the door creaked open, his mother, gagged and eyes flooding with terror, tried desperately to signal him to run. But the trap was already sprung. Sung-woo stepped inside. The loan sharks were lying in wait. Sung-woo casually kicked off his shoes, adjusted his backpack, and muttered, "I'm home." But before his brain could even process the horror in the room, one of the thugs blindsided him, smashing a steel pipe into the back of his head. The mother's heart stopped. She thought he was dead. But then, something impossible happened. Sung-woo didn't drop. He reached back and caught the attacker by the shoulder. Then he delivered a punch with such catastrophic force that the thug's face completely caved in. The guy looked so messed up that if you sent him to hell, even the devil would reject the delivery. The room went dead silent. The boss's palms started sweating. He realized instantly this kid wasn't normal. He screamed, "Get him," all at once. "Kill him if you have to." The first goon lunged, but Sung-woo slipped the attack like it was nothing. He countered, immediately landing a body shot on the second guy, so hard you could hear multiple ribs snap like dry twigs. The thug dropped the pipe, gasping for air, but Sung-woo wasn't done. He drove another heavy fist right into the same broken spot. That ribcage was pulverized. Then he grabbed the leg of the first attacker and shattered the bone with a single, brutal stomp. 3 thugs were already on the floor. Then some idiot tried to rush him with a chair. Really, a chair. 0 damage. Sung-woo tanked the hit and tossed the attacker into the wall with enough force to knock him out cold instantly. The boss couldn't process the carnage. He panicked, thinking maybe using the dad as a hostage would work. But when he looked up, Sung-woo had already grabbed the hot iron. He slammed it directly onto the boss's head, driving his skull into the wall. Crack. Neck broken. The entire squad was wiped out. Sung-woo stood there panting heavily. He walked over to his parents, cut their bonds, and as he turned to leave, he whispered, "If we weren't poor, I wouldn't have to fight like this." And with that, he collapsed from exhaustion. Hours later, a fleet of ambulances hauled the loan sharks to the ER. The screams were deafening. The doctors were sweating bullets. The injuries were catastrophic. In the lobby, a man in glasses watched the chaos. He asked a nurse, "What the hell happened?" She replied calmly, "A single high schooler absolutely folded this entire gang." The man in glasses stood there, jaw on the floor, right in front of him. They wheeled in the boss wearing a neck brace. The boss signaled to a new guy and rasped out, "Go find that punk and end him. He's the reason we're wrecked." Then the underling spills the tea to the boss. Turns out the kid is checked into this exact hospital. The lackey grins, dropping the bomb. "Zero worries. Black Bear just headed out. That kid is toast." Hearing Black Bear glasses guy almost jumps out of his skin. He grills the nurse for the student's location. "Room 202, she replies. No hesitation. He bolts from the ER, sprinting straight for room 202. Thinking, if this is the legendary Black Bear, he's a top-tier enforcer. I gotta see him throw down to gauge his real power level. He skids to a halt at the door. Instead of barging in, he peeks through the crack. He needs to see Black Bear work. Sucks for Sung-woo, but curiosity is killing the cat right now. He's desperate to witness that strength. Inside, Sung Woo is still hooked up to an IV drip, facing down the beast. Black Bear mutters, "Thought this was a real job. Just some high school scrub." He glares at Sung Woo. "Nothing personal, kid. Just business. But you're different. No fear in those eyes. Let me teach you what terror actually feels like." Sung Woo doesn't wait. He snaps a lightning jab, but Black Bear is faster. Smack. A monstrous slap to the head sends Sung Woo crashing to the tiles, like someone swatting a fly. Sung Woo's on the floor coughing up blood. Outside Glasses Guy watches totally shook. He's floored. Black Bear's speed is insane. The rumors were 100% true. Black Bear chuckles. "Listen, kid, rage all you want. You stare me down, I put you down." But then shockwaves. Sung Woo slowly rises from the floor, wipes the blood from his lip. "You talk a lot for a guy with zero game." Hearing that, Black Bear snaps. But he's hyped too. He loves this, the thrill of prey that actually fights back. Glasses Guy stops smirking. He realizes Black Bear isn't playing, he's going for the kill. Before he can step in, Sung Woo weaves the first punch and lands a savage kick right to the face. Jaw drops. He never imagined anyone could stagger the beast. Black Bear catches himself with one hand barely staying upright. Glasses Guy exhales. Makes sense. They call this guy the nation's physical king. He's not going down that easy. Black Bear grins. "You think a high schooler's kick can drop me?" He doesn't even finish the sentence. Bang, Sung Woo blasts him in the face. Black Bear hits the deck hard. Glasses Guy is in disbelief. Impossible. But Sung Woo isn't done. He starts raining down punches. A brutal beatdown trying to crack his skull. Desperate Black Bear grabs Sung Woo's waist. He squeezes hard. Sung Woo is caught slipping. Black Bear growls, "Using my finisher on a kid is embarrassing, but now we're having fun." Glasses Guy recognizes it immediately, the bone crusher, the inescapable hold. He thinks about stopping the fight, but then he freezes. Stunned, Sung Woo is still moving. Black Bear is confused. Why aren't the bones snapping? Sung Woo forces himself up, using pure grit. And then, bang, a savage headbutt straight into Black Bear's skull. The impact is massive. Black Bear lets go, wondering if the kid has metal implants. But Sung Woo is relentless. Headbutt after headbutt. Crack. Skull fractures, teeth shatter, face turns to pulp. Glasses Guy screams, "Stop, he's out cold, chill out, or the cleanup is going to be a total nightmare." He makes a call. Severe head trauma car accident. Building B room 202. Move it. Sung Woo, gasping for air, asks, "Who are you guys?" Glasses Guy flicks him a card. "That number is your ticket to everything." Sung Woo blinks confused. "You with him?" Glasses Guy smirks. "Nah, I'm thinking about joining your team." Suddenly, a cleanup crew in masks bursts in to scrape Black Bear off the floor, sanitizing the scene. One asks, "Status confirmed." Initiating lockdown, he replies, "Keep Black Bear under for a while." Copy that, the masker says, and the scrubbing begins. Sung Woo sat there, mind racing. Who are these guys really? The guy with the glasses slid a business card across the table and repeated, "The contact on this card, he's the genie who can grant you everything you desire." Sung Woo took it, staring at the plastic with zero clue what it meant. Four eyes leaned in. "You just have to fight for the master you serve." That triggered something. Sung Woo crushed the card in his fist. "Get lost." He tossed the crumpled card straight into the trash can. "I don't need to throw hands to make bank, and I'm not interested in whatever grift you're running." He stormed out of the room. The suit didn't chase him. He just sat there smirking to himself. People change their minds fast. A few minutes later, cut to the men's restroom. Sung Woo doused his face with cold water, trying to cool off. He muttered to his reflection, "Damn it. No matter how trash my life gets, I promised Mom I wouldn't fight. I have to keep that one wish." Suddenly, the door creaked open. It was his dad. "Look at you," his father said. "Where do you think you're going in that state?" That snapped something inside. "Sung Woo, you tell me, who put me in this state? You were a boxing champion. Why did you just stand there and do nothing? How did you end up drowning in this much debt? Did you have offers? Or was your champion's ego too big for a local gym? I don't even know why the national team kicked you out. But tell me, was your stupid pride worth more than your sick wife's life?" Silence. The old man didn't have a comeback. He just turned and walked out of the bathroom. He dropped one command as he left: "Don't go anywhere. Stay in the hospital." Moments later, the room started spinning. Sung Woo stumbled, barely catching himself before sliding to the floor. Vertigo slammed into him, followed by a splitting headache. "Sleep deprivation. No," he whispered. "My head pounds every time I see him, because I hate his guts." He hated seeing his dad come home beaten. He hated watching him bow down to the parents of the punks Sung Woo fought. The trust was gone. He wanted to believe his dad tried, but the doubt was eating him alive. He felt like he was free-falling into a bottomless void. He was just a high school kid who couldn't even land a gig on a fishing boat. Changing his fate felt impossible. He couldn't even afford lunch. The delivery bike he used for work, company property, was totaled because he refused to be a punching bag for the school bullies. Thanks to those thugs, his dad's debt was skyrocketing, and he couldn't just run away. Not with his mom sick and helpless. His life was a shipwreck. Then, everything went black. Snapped back to reality. He woke up in a strange hospital bed, skull throbbing. When did they move him? He checked his phone to see how long he'd been out, but his heart sank when he saw a text from his dad. He opened it. "It's time I told you the truth. Tonight." Sung-woo froze. What else is he hiding? Panic set in. He thought of his mom and dialed his dad immediately. "How's mom?" he demanded. His dad's voice was tight. "Do not come home. There are goons staking out the house. It's too dangerous." He explained that Sung-woo was checked in to a new room under an alias for protection. Sung-woo started hyperventilating. "Then where is she?" his dad whispered. "She's hiding in a motel near the precinct. She's safe. I can't talk right now. Just stay put." Click. The line went dead. Sung-woo sat in silence, then the guilt crashed down on him. If I hadn't messed with those gangsters, none of this would be happening. He had to find his mother. He was about to bolt out the door when his phone buzzed again. Caller ID, Dad. He answered fast, but it wasn't his dad's voice. A stranger spoke, sounding shaky. "Is this Mr. Sung-woo?" "Yeah, it's me." "Who is this?" the man replied. "There's been a terrible accident. Your father. He fell. He's unconscious. It's bad. A work accident. Shattered bones. Crushed ribs. Cut to the ICU." Sung-woo stared through the glass at his father's broken, unconscious body. The doctor dropped the hammer. "The surgery is extremely high risk. The cost alone will exceed 100 million won. That's not even counting the long-term rehab." Tears welled up in Sung-woo's eyes. He was paralyzed. Where was he supposed to get that kind of cash? Where could he even start? Then it hit him. The red card. The one he threw in the trash. He didn't think twice. He sprinted down the hall. Lungs burning, he reached room 202. He burst inside, but it was empty. Scrubbed clean. Sung-woo collapsed to his knees and broke down sobbing. "This is all my fault." He was hunched over in the dark, choking back tears as he apologized to his dad. "I wish I was just dead," he sobbed. Suddenly, a familiar voice sliced through the silence behind him. "Looking for this red business card?" It was the man with the glasses from earlier, a smirk playing on his lips. "Have a change of heart, kid." Sung-woo didn't waste a second. "How much cash are we talking?" The man pushed his frames up his nose. 10 billion won. Minimum. That's if you win. But even if you lose, the clout pays. Get famous, get rich. Then he leaned in closer. "So you down to work with us?" Smash cut to a sleek office. The glasses guy, now introducing himself as Kim, slides a thick contract across the desk. "Read it. Take your time. Sign when you're ready." Sung-woo grabbed the papers, staring at the bold title on the cover. "Fighting World." Sung-woo frowned. "The hell is this?" he asked. Kim didn't blink. "It's a secret underground fight club. But here's the kicker. The fighters are jacked up on experimental military-grade stimulants. We pump them full of meds that give them literal monster powers." Sung-woo's jaw hit the floor. "What, you're drugging people?" He shook his head violently. "No way, I'm not doing that junk." But Kim just opened a case revealing vials of glowing liquid. "Not just junk, this stuff. It could give a frail old grandpa the strength of a tank. Totally optional, of course. Your call." Sung-woo narrowed his eyes. "Who exactly are you, Kim?" Adjusted his specs again. "My bad. I'm Kim Min-sok. I'm a headhunter for a very big player who has a massive stake in Fighting World." Sung-woo looked blank, but Kim waved it off. "Forget the boss. Focus on the juice. Just so you know, 0 fighters have ever won this tournament sober." Sung-woo stood his ground. "I said, I'm not doping." Kim shrugged, cool as ice. "Fine. I won't bring it up again. You'll get it once you step in the arena." This guy is deaf, Sung-woo thought. Kim switched to business mode. "Here's the meta. Reach the top 20, and you get to draft a sponsor. Pick my boss, and he'll fast-track you straight to the championship." Sung-woo cut him off. Yeah, I get the lore. Just give me the money. That's all I want." Kim remained unnervingly calm. "Problem is, payout only happens through the tournament." Sung-woo exploded. "Are you kidding me? No guaranteed cash. Why would I do this?" Kim smirked. "Chill out. You need funds for your dad's surgery, right? And you want to keep him safe from the loan sharks." Sung-woo froze. How do you know that Kim ignored the question? "You just fight for our boss. The surgery, the security, the schedule, we handle all the logistics." Sung-woo wavered. The offer was tempting. "But how can I trust you, Buzz?" His phone lit up. It was Mom. He snatched it up. "Mom, everything okay?" Her voice trembled. "Honey," they said, "you paid all the hospital bills and sent bodyguards." Sung-woo blinked in confusion. "I did what." Kim leaned in, whispering, "Relax. We already prepped a safe house for your folks." "Honestly," Kim added smoothly, "you're our only hope." Sung-woo gripped the phone tight. "Yeah, Mom, I sent them. Do whatever they say. I'll be back soon." Click. He stared at Kim, dead serious now. "Why is the prize pool so huge?" 10 billion won, Kim chuckled. 10 billion is just the base loot. More bets equal a bigger pot. One winner walked away with 15 billion. Sung-woo's eyes widened. "That's insane." "It is," Kim said darkly. But here's the fine print. 90% of fighters die or get crippled. Only 10% walk out alive. Sungwoo gasped. That many bodies and nobody knows. That's why it's a secret genius. You sign, we create your death alibi. Death alibi. Hospitals are the perfect place to fake a death. Missing person, sudden illness, nasty, fall overdose. We can fake it all. Sungwoo challenged him. And if I snitch? Kim's voice dropped to sub-zero. You think it's hard to paint you as a crazy junkie. Besides, who'd believe? A nut job ranting about a tournament that doesn't exist before you could even file a report. You'd be legally dead. That's the beauty of the hospital system. A sly grin spread across Kim's face. It's all on you, Sungwoo. In or out? Want to sign now or take a few days to mull it over? Most guys need time. But Sungwoo's eyes burned with resolve. I don't need a day. I'm in. Just keep your promise. Kim's grin widened pure victory. Suddenly, a sharp sting pierced Sungwoo's neck. A nurse stood behind him, syringe in hand. Sungwoo staggered, vision blurring. What the hell? Kim locked eyes with him. Relax, Sungwoo. Just a sedative for the ride to the arena. Remember, your parents' safety depends on you staying in the game. So you better win. Sungwoo's world went black. Minutes later, his eyes fluttered open. His mind is total static. Dead maybe. He can't process the location, the strangers, or even the gurney he's strapped to. Where the hell am I? He manages to choke out. The orderly pushing him cuts him off, voice 0 degrees, Kelvin. Zip it. You'll find out soon enough. A shiver shoots down his spine like ice water. Cut to Joseon Group HQ. Vice Chief Hu Youngsha, let's just call him Yanggu, is kicking back in his office. Kim just dropped the intel on Sungwoo. Yanggu raises an eyebrow, skeptical. For real, we're banking on a high school kid as our ace fighter. Even if he took down Black Bear, that sounds insane. Kim pushes up his glasses, cool as a cucumber. Of course, your brother. The VP will think it's a joke. That's the whole strategy. Kim leans in. The more ridiculous it looks, the better. If we want to bait the vice president who's obsessed with fighting world into this trap, we need him to sleep on the threat. Yanggu looks intrigued. So you're saying this brat is the silver bullet to take down my brother? Yanggu asks. We ran the med scan. Surviving Black Bear's bone-crushing combo. That wasn't luck, Kim says. It was a biological miracle. Meanwhile, back at Fighting World, Sungwoo's eyes snap open. Vision swimming, brain fog heavy. He has zero clue where he is or whose boot is stepping on him. Suddenly, move it or eat lead, the guard's savage bark sends the kid scrambling back. Sungwoo is on the floor, surrounded by the angry buzz of drones. One hovers close. Participant consciousness verified. Sungwoo looks down, panic rising. Why am I in a school uniform? I didn't dress for this. Then the speakers. Boom. Round 1 initiated. The drone's robotic voice echoes. Welcome to the doping selection. Heart rates spike everywhere. This round decides which 200 fighters step onto the main stage. Survival now hangs on a needle. For some, a power-up. For others, a death sentence. Commence selection, the drone commands. Random injection distributed. Each dose targets a specific physical stat. Meanwhile, the VIPs watching the live stream get the green light. Betting window is open. Every fighter grips their chem kit. The dude opposite Sungwoo, manic grin on his face, jabs the needle straight in. Sungwoo freezes. I already failed my parents. Broke the no fighting rule, won't graduate. But I can't break the last promise. No drugs. Then, reality hits different. The junkie across from him coughs up a fountain of blood, seizing his body, warping in real time. Sungwoo's eyes go wide. What the actual hell? The guy launches himself with inhuman agility, aiming a stomp at Sungwoo's face. Instinct kicks in. Sungwoo ducks. The guy misses and obliterates the wall. Debris flies everywhere. The impact shatters concrete. Sungwoo's mind races. Dude was a twig 5 seconds ago. Where did those muscles come from? The drone confirms the nightmare. Fighter has successfully maxed out strength attribute. The mutant cackles. He hit the chemical jackpot. Man, I wish I could go snap every jerk who called me a loser back home right now. He blurs into motion instantly in Sungwoo's face. So, how should I squash this little bug to make it entertaining? But before he can finish that thought, Sungwoo lands a lightning jab straight to the face. 0 reaction time. The mutant stumbles back, stunned. Rage explodes. That little tap felt like every insult he ever took. But Sungwoo is cold calculating. That punch wasn't about damage. It was a test. His reaction time is still trash, Sungwoo thinks. If I close the gap, slow and bait an opening, I might have a shot. Plan A fails instantly. The Hulk charges like a freight train and, wham, slams Sungwoo's skull into the pavement. Sungwoo realizes head-on is suicide against this monster. Maybe a face shot. He tries to maneuver mid-air, but the mutant swats him like a fly. Blood sprays immediately. Sungwoo has 0 recovery time before the psycho grabs his legs and whips him into the ground. Who needs skill? The guy laughs. When I have brute force, Sungwoo is a ragdoll. That impact should be lethal, game over. But they forgot about Sungwoo's iron bone ability. The mutant grins. Crushing you is the best high ever. Let's see just how much pressure a human skull can take before it pops. Screaming like a maniac, he launches himself mid-air. Bring out everyone who looked down on me. I'm the king now. Boom. He crash lands right onto Sung Woo's sternum. Flashing a twisted, sadistic grin, he sneers. You know the best part of crushing someone, the sound of their ribs snapping. Cut to a few hours earlier in Yang Woo's office. Kim was breaking down the intel on Sung Woo's previous battle. After he survived that bone-crushing bear hug, they ran a full body scan. The results, absolutely mind-blowing. Sung Woo's bone density isn't just high, it's 10 times that of an average person. This means his skeleton is built like a tank, making normal attacks totally useless against him. Now, snap back to the arena. Just as the guy tries to stomp him out, Sung Woo snatches his ankle and slickly maneuvers out of the hold. The enemy lunges for a leg lock, but our MC switches stances instantly, creating distance. The guy is completely shook. How is Sung Woo tanking these hits without any juice? But he doesn't fold. He figures maybe his own body hasn't fully metabolized the dope yet. Meanwhile, Sung Woo analyzes the situation. This monster's movements are lagging, and his stamina is trash. He realizes as long as he avoids the grapple, he needs to aim for the jaw, prioritizing speed over raw power. Sung Woo closes the gap. The junkie gets hyped seeing him approach and winds up for a haymaker, but Sung Woo weaves right under it. Pow! A lightning-fast left jab connects with his face. The guy swings a wild left counter, but Sung Woo dips again. Whack! Another sharp right hook lands. The massive opponent stumbles, losing his footing. Sung Woo goes beast mode. No breathing room, just a barrage of jabs until the guy's eyes start rolling back. Spotting a golden opening, Sung Woo winds up to deliver the finisher. But right as he commits to the strike, the guy snatches his arms, flashing a creepy grin. Gotcha. You were so hyped on your combo, you didn't even realize I let you turn me into a punching bag. Sung Woo stays ice cold. You really think I just let you grab me for free? Then he drops a trivia bomb. You know why kangaroos lock up their opponent's arms before the big kick. Bomb. Sung Woo pulls off an insane acrobatic maneuver, planting both feet square in the guy's face and leveraging him straight into the dirt. The dude is completely bewildered. He's paralyzed. He screams in pure rage. Damn it, why won't my limbs work? I can't be losing to a natural. Eyes locking onto the doping gun, he decides to double down. Maybe dose 1 was a dud. But Sung Woo clocks the move and rushes to intercept, knowing that specific vial was actually meant for him. Too late. Before Sung Woo can close the distance, the needle is already in. The drone chimes in. Endurance doping successfully applied. Instantly, the guy rams Sung Woo mid-air like a freight train, hitting with such force that Sung Woo coughs up blood immediately. But the nightmare isn't over. The roided-out maniac grabs him mid-flight and slams him violently into the concrete. A drone hovers over to check for a pulse, but the guy smacks it away. He's not done playing with his food. He chokes Sung Woo up off the ground, growling, "I've been dying to do this. This is how I deal with trash like you, squeezing the life out. That's where the real pleasure is." But right as Sung Woo's vision starts to fade, the guy collapses, dead on arrival. The drone announces, "Game over. Player deceased." Yang Woo is watching from the VIP box, totally baffled by the sudden turn of events. Kim breaks it down: overdose. Adjusting his glasses, he explains, "When you mix different cocktails, the survival rate drops below 0.5%. And he was already stacking the power dope. Adding the endurance dope on top, his heart exploded. Inevitable. Yang Woo shrugs. Well, gotta admit the kid's got luck. The opponent took himself out. Kim counters maybe, but calling it pure luck isn't accurate. Sung Woo's physiology is an anomaly. Yang Woo scoffs. Not an anomaly. The guy just doesn't break. We've got bigger monsters in the kennel, you know. Kim stays calm. Sung Woo is different. Doping enhances muscles, organs, hormones, the works. But there's one thing we can't upgrade: the skeleton. And Sung Woo's bones, they're hiding a secret. That's his X factor. Yang Woo smirks. We'll see just how special when he steps into the real gauntlet. He turns to Kim. What's the play? Kim pushes his glasses up again. Sung Woo cleared the doping trial. We'll rush him to the infirmary. After that, he faces the surviving monsters. And just like that, terrifying new abilities are already manifesting. Moments later, in the recovery room of the combat wing, Sung Woo sat slumped over, face twisted in pure agony. He muttered, "I killed him. That blood is on my hands." But he quickly forced himself to shake off the mental spiral. It was him or me. I just wanted to knock him out, not end him. Doesn't matter now. I gotta lock in. I'm the only hope my mom and dad have left. Right then, a surveillance drone buzzed in, hovering close. Attention. All surviving players who cleared the round report to the main lobby immediately. A staffer scoffed at Sung Woo. Listen up. A guide's gonna break it down for you. Just stick to them, and you might actually survive. But try anything funny and you're toast. These guides are packing lethal heat. The assigned drone began leading Sung Woo down the corridor. As he marched toward the lobby, Sung Woo's mind raced. Where the hell am I? Looks like some underground bunker or a black site facility. They've totally cut off any exit routes. Man, I'd give anything just to hear my mom's voice right now. He clenched his fists. I have to stay alive. That was the deal. As long as I'm playing their game, my parents stay untouchable. But the reality hit him hard. The combat in here. It's a whole different beast compared to the outside world. Back home, people looked at me like I was a freak. But in here, even the low-level street thugs are built different. The guide beeped, player lounge accessed. The heavy doors slid open and Song Woo stepped into the chaos. The PA system crackled, all players accounted for. The game commences now with 124 participants remaining. Please gather at the main screen for the briefing session. Song Woo scanned the room, sweat forming. Freaks. Every single one of them. These guys look way deadlier than the ones in round 1. He decided to ghost it, stay under the radar until the official bell rang. But suddenly, a massive shadow loomed over him. Yo, high schooler. How'd a twig like you get in here? Mind if I use you as a warm-up? Song Woo cursed internally. Damn it. This school uniform is basically a giant kick-me sign. I need that briefing to start like right now. 2 other creeps, one looking like a reject clown, the other built like a crab, started cackling nearby. The clown sneered. Word on the street is the kid only made it because his opponent OD'd on the juice. The crab guy grinned. So he's clean. Haven't taken the enhancements yet. The clown nodded. Dragging him here in that uniform means one thing. The rich VIPs just want a pathetic comedy show. The crab guy cracked his knuckles. Come on, let's mess him up. But the clown's face suddenly went pale. Chill, keep your head down and walk away. Someone else already claimed him. A voice boomed from behind Song Woo. Hey, fresh meat. If someone asks you to play, you answer them. A massive hand crushed down on Song Woo's skull. Ignore me and you're dead. Song Woo's survival instinct kicked in. To survive this asylum, I gotta out-crazy the crazies. Song Woo spun around instantly. He was just about to launch an attack when he froze. Another fighter had stepped in, blocking the bully. Let's call him Big Bull. The stranger said calmly to Big Bull, "That's enough." Big Bull growled, annoyed, and crushed the stranger's wrist in a vice grip. But the stranger didn't even flinch. He simply stated, "Let the kid go. He's just a student." With a sudden jerk, the stranger ripped his hand free. Big Bull scoffed. "You think a cripple with one good arm can stop me? You're risking your neck for this weakling." Song Woo felt a flash of rage but bit his tongue. Best to ignore it. Getting injured over an ego trip isn't worth it. Big Bull, however, saw red and decided to execute the stranger right there. Song Woo wasn't the type to stand by and watch someone get pulverized for defending him. But before he could move, a shockwave hit the room. Bang! A laser blast from a security drone tore through the air, and Big Bull dropped like a sack of bricks. The drone's mechanical voice echoed. Briefing session commencing. Unauthorized combat outside designated hours results in immediate termination. Song Woo swallowed hard. 0 warnings. Just death. Is survival even possible here? Suddenly, the giant monitor flickered to life, revealing a masked figure. "Attention," the figure announced with manic energy. "To all survivors of the preliminary doping round. Up until now, breathing was enough to pass. But the tutorial is over. From this moment on, every match will have a loser. And in this arena, eliminated means physically incapable of fighting. Permanently." Then came the hook. "But you're all here for one reason. The grand prize, 10 billion won." The room erupted. Song Woo's eyes went wide. 10 billion, that kind of cash. My family could finally live like royalty. He steeled himself. "I'll do whatever it takes." But the host wasn't done. Bad news, only one king takes the throne. However, don't lose hope just yet. Survive to the top 16, and you'll pocket 5% of the total VIP bets placed on your head. The crowd went absolutely feral. Even the runts were scheming now, shouting, "We take the prize money and steal the betting pool." The screen shifted graphics. To facilitate this, every single one of you has been assigned a personal live stream channel. Setup was straight out of a dystopian Twitch stream. Personal feeds, dedicated cameramen, the works. The VIPs lurked on. Channels of the fighters they thought had main character energy dropping massive bets. It was a simple equation. More VIP clout meant stacking way more paper. The players were assigned private quarters to chill in until the games began, with total freedom to squad up. Any questions? The guides were there to backseat gaming. The clown leaned in, dropping some strategy on Crabface. "Listen to farm engagement from the VIPs. You gotta stick to the meta room with the heavy hitters. We need big viral plays." Crabface scoffed. "If I room with that high school noob, I won't see a single cent. He's dead weight." Song Woo thought, damn it. Even finding a place to crash is gonna be a grind. Suddenly, the same guy who'd saved his skin earlier piped up. "Hey, relax. I got your back. I'll make sure you survive until the official match starts." Sung Woo stayed silent, but he clocked the guy's hand. It was still trembling from when the Great Bull had grabbed him. He was terrified. Suddenly, a figure brushed past them. Sung Woo did a double take. He recognized that face. A celebrity. The trembling guy interrupted. "Hey, looks like an open room over there, with 0 competition. Let's go claim it." Sung Woo narrowed his eyes, sensing something sus. This dude got injured because of me, and now he wants to share a room with the server's most avoided player. But then he realized, doesn't matter where I camp, the danger is unavoidable. So he decided to roll with him. The clown watched them leave and sneered. "That squad is a total train wreck. Crabface." Predicted. Their viewer count is gonna be in the toilet. The clown smirked. Exactly. That's why I picked the room right next to theirs. The popular kids are nearby. Sure, sharing a room is risky, but being neighbors, that's how you leech. Screen time. Crabface nodded. True. If the muscleheads pull in the VIPs, staying in their orbit is a solid strategy. Across the hall, 3 jacked, intimidating dudes occupied a room. Suddenly, a blonde kid walked in, slammed the door, and sized them up. Nice crib. I'm taking it. You guys can bounce. One of the giants stepped up, veins popping. The camera isn't even rolling, and you lock the door. You must have a death wish, kid. He swung a massive left hook, but the blonde countered with just 2 fingers. Bam! He struck the guy's neck. Vital point. The giant folded instantly, neck twisted like a pretzel. The other 2 meatheads froze, eyes wide in shock. The blonde asked casually, anyone else want to say hello? Silence. The room was dead quiet, thick with fear. The blonde nodded. Good. Stay quiet. The person I actually want to greet isn't here anyway. The blonde boy's name was Minsu Han, age 19. We'll call him Minsu. A few hours later, inside a car parked on a bridge, Kim briefed Yang-gu. Intel says the first vice president is re-teaming with Troy Machun, the returning champion. Yang-gu slammed the steering wheel. Damn it. Of course he's abusing the meta. Nobody can diff that guy. Unlike me, he continued bitterly stuck with a high school replacement. Kim replied with ice-cold calm. If Sungwoo makes the top 16, he unlocks the second round of doping. His stats are already 10 times a normal human's. After the upgrade, he'll be a record-breaking monster. Yang-gu looked stressed. But how do we keep him on our roster? When the other VIPs start trying to snipe him, Kim smirked confidently. Don't sweat it yet. The 5 people in his room had the absolute lowest ratings. During the doping trials, they're invisible. Back at the arena, Sungwoo walked into his new dorm with his trembling savior. The man sighed, sounding anxious. It's going to be hard to farm clout here. The audience only simps for fighters who look like they can actually win. The room wasn't empty. There was Amanda Groch, 23, a capoeira and jiu-jitsu specialist. Youngblood Min-ho Kim, 25, a boxer, and Menon, 28. Sungwoo watched as Menon weirdly tried to lick his own elbow. Lenses were tracking every move. The savior whispered to Sungwoo, looks like the stream is live. We gotta do something flashy to bait the VIPs into betting. He dropped a hand to the floor, launching into a one-handed acrobatic hold. Sungwoo thought it was mid, but then Amanda stood up. She placed a single finger on the floor and hoisted her entire body weight. Sungwoo was shook. How is she defying physics with 1 finger and 0 momentum? Amanda and the man started a speedrun competition to see who was faster. Min-ho, the boxer, scoffed. Showing off strength is for NPCs. He starts dashing back and forth, moving like a total blur. Meanwhile, Menon finally manages to lick his own elbow. Everyone is pulling weird stunts, desperate to chase clout and grab the audience's attention. Sungwoo is completely lost. What the hell is happening? It looks intense, but I feel like I'm losing brain cells just watching this. Suddenly a notification pops up on the screen. The bracket for the tournament of 124 fighters is locked in. Everyone freezes, shocked to see exactly who they have to survive in the first round. Sungwoo draws Kai as his opponent. Cut to Joseon's crew. Yang-gu turns to Kim. Is this Kai guy actually that dangerous? Kim shoots back. Kai has never lost a single fight in his entire Lethwei career. Yang-gu looks blank. What's Lethwei? Kim breaks it down. It's Burmese boxing. Think Muay Thai, but way more savage. No gloves. Headbutts are legal. Smashing your forehead into a dude's face is fair game, and yeah, it can be lethal, which is why it's usually banned. Kim continues. But the scariest part of Lethwei, strikes to the back of the head and the spine are allowed. That is strictly illegal in every other combat sport. That's why Kai has the most raw, real-world combat experience of anyone here. Even after going pro, Kai didn't stop. He started hunting down infamous street brawlers, which put him on the radar of an organization that eventually recruited him. Yang-gu asks the real question. You think Sungwoo can actually last against him? Kim looks intrigued. I don't know. So far, Sungwoo has only scrapped with debt collectors and that one guy built like a black bear. Amateurs with 0 proper martial arts training. The scene shifts. Back in the 5-person room at the fight pavilion, Sungwoo rises from his box, feeling a massive wave of relief. How long was I out, he wonders. But instantly he realizes his body feels way lighter. And not just light, it's a specific sensation he's felt before. It's exactly like when he woke up after fighting the bear guy. Like he's leveled up and got stronger. Right then, the older guy stands up. No need to look so shocked, kid. When you push your muscles to the absolute limit, and they heal without permanent damage, they naturally grow back stronger. He adds, looks like you've never actually pushed yourself to that edge before. Sungwoo stares stunned, wondering if he's telling the truth. Fighting the bear felt like his absolute limit at the time, and he didn't even know how he kept swinging. The man continues, forget the muscles, even your recovery speed is freakish. Maybe you were a test subject for some kind of regenerative doping experiment. Sungwoo cuts him off. Why risk your life to save me? Why did you need to hurt yourself? The man, looking pale, replies softly, you remind me of my son. If I'd been a better dad, he wouldn't have gotten mixed up with loan sharks. I'm here to pay off his debt. Guilt fills his eyes. When I saw you standing there alone, all I could think about was the son I neglected, the life I ruined. I couldn't just sit there. Sung-Woo looks him dead in the eye. Don't waste your time on me. Just live and take care of your actual son. If you die here, none of it matters. The man chokes up, clearly moved, but insists, I don't care. I've got your back no matter what. Suddenly, Menon interrupts, screaming in rage. Damn it, it's the guy who can lick his elbow. Why isn't he in the main arena? The older man tells Sung-Woo, I heard the fights with the highest viewer counts get bumped to the main arena. Everyone else fights in the doping arena. But here's the kicker, if you're on the main stage, it means you're facing the most popular monsters in the tournament. Sung-Woo's eyes light up, he sees an opening. That means we can pull all the VIP attention right to our room. The man gapes at him. Are you insane? Just then, Menon pops up right in Sung-Woo's face with a twisted expression. Sung-Woo is literally trembling. Menon says the main arena isn't just for views. The 16 most powerful VIPs on the planet are there in person. They run this world. Cut to black. Night falls. In the middle of a forest, 3 cars sit parked with headlights cutting the darkness in front of a safe house. Inside, Kim and Yang-Gu stand by a fire. Yang-Gu turns to Kim. I thought we were heading to the arena. What is this dump? Kim replies coolly. The exact location of the fight pavilion is top secret. Only the organizers know it. That's probably why they summoned us to this hidden spot. Then it hits them. Someone hacked the feed. Looks like we've got a digital intruder piggybacking on Sung-Woo's private channel. Aside from the crew, Yang-Woo starts spiraling, paranoid eyes darting around like, yo, what if we're being watched right now? Cue the dramatic entrance. A voice drops from the rooftop above. Oops, think you guys got the wrong idea, purrs a mystery girl. Enter Sung Yoon Cha, 19 years old, and the youngest heiress of the massive Joseon Group empire. She drops a bomb casually. She's only here for Sung-Woo. Just a little stalker vibe, no biggie. Yang-Woo snaps, veins popping. Are you kidding me? Your people fired me days ago, and now you're tailing me like I'm trash. Kim cuts in cool as ice, noting the princess seems way too invested in their boss. He smells a rat with hidden agendas. Yang-Woo gets in her face, warning mode activated. If you're plotting something shady, you better ghost us fast. Whatever 4D chess you're playing isn't gonna fly here. Before the drama peaks, a drone and a sleek ride pull up. Their VIP pickup has arrived. The drone leads the squad straight toward the combat zone. The tutorial is over. The real chaos is about to drop. Suddenly, a creepy voice tells the girl to ditch the blindfold. It's showtime. She rips it off and boom, she's standing in a massive ultra-luxe suite with a panoramic window. Confused at first, she glances outside and freezes. Below them isn't a city, it's a brutal fighting pit. A bald muscle mountain in a suit steps up, explaining the view that bloodbath down there is the main arena. And the puppet master running this circus is watching from one of the 16 exclusive VIP boxes. The girl smirks, realizing exactly where she is. So we finally crashed her brother's little playground. Kim's already there, breaking it down the second this current brawl ends. Minyo is tagging in. Down in the pit, a blonde kid just absolutely demolished a guy 10 times his size. Kim's brain breaks. That kid is a literal monster. Kim tells the manager the blonde kid is Min Soo Han, same age as Sung-Woo. Wait, another high schooler. The manager is shook. High school kids in a deathmatch. Kim swipes his tablet. Min Soo is technically a dropout, so not a student anymore. But here's the kicker, the plot thickens. He quit the exact same school Sung-Woo got expelled from. That is way too random to be a coincidence. A referee drone hovers over Min Soo and the other fighter. Match between Room 9 and Room 20 is a wrap. Min Soo takes the dub. The drone announces the next slugfest, Room 10 versus Room 28. The announcement hits and fighters from every shadowy corner start marching out. Sung-Woo and the old-timer step out even more rattled than before. First up, it's Minyo's turn to shine. While the other 10 fighters chill in the queue, the rule is simple, match over, get off the stage. Fast. The old man knows Minyo has nerves of steel, but suddenly, whoosh, something rockets towards Sung-Woo. Sung-Woo flinches hard. It wasn't a bullet, it was a pebble thrown with lethal velocity. Minyo clocks it instantly. That wasn't nature. That was Min Soo. That blonde kid isn't human. He realized Min Soo flicked that stone. Most people would have missed it, but Minyo's perception is maxed out. Min Soo strolls past looking bored and drops a line. Are all the high schoolers on your squad this stuck up? Minyo's like, huh bro, I don't even know what you're talking about. Genuine confusion. Min Soo's vibe shifts instantly, pure rage. Don't lie to me. That's impossible. The killing intent explodes off Min Soo like a wave. Minyo instinctively drops into a combat stance. Sung-Woo and the old man are clueless. Amanda whispers the lore. Minyo's senses are dialed up to 11. He can feel hostile vibes before the enemy even twitches. It's basically precognition. Minyo blinks stunned. Min Soo is just walking away. His senses were screaming danger, red alert style. It felt like he was getting jumped, but physically, nothing happened. Minyo knows the truth, though. Min-soo was milliseconds away from ending him. He launched a mental attack with pure bloodlust and canceled the animation at the very last second. Minho's actual opponent yells at him to get in the ring. Cut to a VIP suite, a hotel CEO, sipping a drink, analyzing the fight. He asks his butler for the stats. The butler pulls up the file. Opponent's name is Alex. His striking is decent, sir, but Alex is a grappling nightmare. A solid wrestler who folds people like laundry in seconds. Once he gets his rhythm, he dominates the entire flow before the victim even realizes the fight started. In the MMA food chain, wrestlers have always sat on the throne because their base is absolute bedrock. A striker might throw hands, but a grappler decides where the fight happens. And the hardest boss to beat isn't the guy with knockout power, it's the heavyweight who knows how to weaponize gravity. Bottom line, if your wrestling game is elite, you walk into that cage with zero fear. Physique-wise, Minho looked like a snack compared to the Hulk that was Alex. As Minho popped into a boxing stance, Alex just cracked up. Is this some kind of discount boxing parody? Alex thought Minho was a rookie for fighting bare knuckle against him. Big mistake. Before Alex could even finish that thought, Minho blitzed him with a punch faster than the shutter speed of a camera. Direct hit. He cratered Alex's eye so bad the guy might need a pirate patch for life. Alex howled, but Minho was ice cold. No emotion. That one strike shattered Alex's focus completely. With his vision cut in half, Alex couldn't track the movement, especially since Minho kept exploiting that blind side. Like a glitch in a video game. He was small, fast, and spamming attacks right where Alex couldn't see. The giant couldn't keep up. Minho ripped a nasty left uppercut, followed by a straight right that connected flush with the face. The impact was loud enough to crack a skull, but Alex just tanked it. Didn't drop, didn't stop. Minho was swarming him from every angle, dishing out critical damage with every hit. The onslaught was so savage that Alex's good eye started failing him too. The speed was blurring reality. The big man was officially lagging. Up in the VIP box, the old observer was losing his mind. It looked like a total speedrun victory for Minho, but Amanda spotted something terrifying. Alex wasn't just taking hits, he was latching onto Minho's fist, trying to crush it. Cut back to the action. Alex almost landed a counter, but Minho noped out of there, leaping back to reset the distance. Minho was rattled. Why were his alarm bells ringing when he was clearly winning? Alex was just as shocked that he managed to block that. Then it clicked the second his vision cleared for a split second. His survival instincts kicked into overdrive. The sheer adrenaline of this death match had his entire nervous system on high alert. It was like Alex just entered phase 2 of a boss battle. He shut his eyes. Minho couldn't read the play, but he knew the difficulty setting just spiked. He had to stay sharp. The advantage was slipping. Eyes shut tight, Alex effortlessly caught Minho's next strike. The VIPs, watching from the luxury suite, gasped. Minho felt a chill down his spine, pure imminent death. If he didn't pivot left, it was game over. He barely slipped the attack, thinking he was safe, but a massive hand clamped down and ragdolled him toward the floor. Before he could impact, Alex scooped him up and delivered a bone-shattering reverse body slam. The old man was flabbergasted, while the chairman was absolutely vibing, even if he didn't get how Alex got buffed after losing an eye. The butler broke it down, maybe. Experimental injection dialed Alex's other senses to 11 once his sight vanished. Rewind a bit. Minho was getting pummeled. Alex was grinning like a total demon, actually thanking Minho for popping his eye, because that pain unlocked his true potential. But out of nowhere, Minho threw a Hail Mary punch. He wasn't quitting. The impact was so violent it launched Alex several yards back. And get this, Minho had popped the other eye like a water balloon. The chairman looked like he was going to hurl. He just saw his investment evaporate. The old man assumed Minho was still in fighting shape after that combo, but he was misreading the situation. He was just entertained by the bloodshed. Meanwhile, the butler dropped a bomb on the chairman. When Minho landed that last hit, he was actually unconscious. Hearing that, the chairman shivered. He watched Minho raise a fist in victory, but it was just muscle memory. Amanda knew Minho had to wake up as soon as possible, before Alex used his enhanced senses to hunt him down like a bat. And right on cue, Alex stands up. Minho is still out cold. Alex is totally blind now, but shockingly, it's not a handicap anymore, it's a superpower. He's evolving by the second. He could practically taste the individual dust particles in his opponent's breath. His senses were that dialed in. Every shift in air pressure registered on his skin like a radar, giving him a 360 view without even turning his head. At first, he thought the injection was a dud, some cheap knockoff that wouldn't actually grant superpowers. But this was total insanity. The serum was kicking in, and his abilities were leveling up by the second. Alex threw his head back and laughed like a complete maniac while the crowd watched absolutely frozen. He decided that since Minho was the reason he unlocked this god-tier strength, he'd return the favor by ending him. Alex launched himself into the air for the kill shot, while Minho lay there lights out. Minho's body was unresponsive, but deep in his subconscious, the image of his innocent brother's death screamed for vengeance. The trauma flooded back the memory of being dragged into that underground fight ring while scavenging for weapons. That nightmare was potent enough to jolt Minho's system awake, snapping his eyes open and forcing his body to reboot. The second his vision cleared, he saw Alex's elbow dropping like a hammer, but something felt off. Alex looked like he was moving in slow motion, lagging in real time. Then it clicked: Alex hadn't slowed down. Minho had just leveled up his own speed. Alex's strike shattered the concrete floor, but Minho had already glitched out of the impact zone. The old man stood there, jaw dropped, unable to process the blur he just witnessed. Minho mocked Alex, thanking him for the heads up about the sensory boost fully recovered after that micro break. Alex realized this kid wasn't just fodder anymore. Minho was faster, and Alex had to square up for real this time. Taunting him, Minho signaled for Alex to bring it, stepping forward with a basic move that screamed danger. Round 2 kicked off, and somehow Alex managed to catch Minho's fist right before it connected. Minho stayed cocky, convinced that blocking one hit was just a lucky fluke. But when the second strike failed, and then a third whiffed, completely reality set in. Minho realized he had to crank it up. Alex's senses were so broken that Minho couldn't land a single clean hit. It didn't make sense. How could a tank like that keep up with a speedster? Alex smirked, tracking everything. He could hear the rhythm of Minho's heartbeat. The concept of a blind spot didn't exist for him anymore. There was no angle to approach from. Minho knew he couldn't win playing at this default speed setting. He had to gamble everything, pushing his velocity past the red line just to stand a chance. Maxing out his stats, Minho charged in like a supercar winding up for his signature finisher, the direct light fist. But the moment he threw it, Alex snagged him midair and slammed him down. The impact was brutal. Minho hit the deck, his neck twisting at a sickening angle while Alex asked calmly, "Why'd you flop?" When you're supposed to be powered up, Minho sprang back up, instantly checking his neck for a break. He was fine. Alex grinned. "If you hadn't rolled with that, I would have snapped every bone in your body, one by one." The old man stood up, realizing that raw speed wasn't going to cut it against this monster. But he noticed Minho was still downloading data, analyzing the fight. The old man wondered, what kind of strategy beats a guy who sees everything? Suddenly, Minho was back on his feet. Even though his stamina buff had completely worn off, he was forcing his body to maintain that insane tempo. The old man was shook. Then bam, Minho finally connected, smashing a fist right into Alex's face. The old man froze, watching the tide turn as Minho turned into a blur. He was weaving around the big guy, circling him like a tornado. The old man couldn't wrap his head around it. How was he moving that fast without the juice? Then Minho let it fly. A second punch, back-to-back landing flush. It rocked Alex straight in the jaw. But the old man was still confused. Why was Minho burning energy on all those feints and fakeouts when his main attacks were landing? That's when Amanda chimed in, dropping the explanation. Those fake moves were the whole point. They were the only reason Minho's fists were finding their target. She explained that Minho had stopped using the feints when he thought Alex was blind. But that was the mistake, because Alex's other senses were hyper-tuned. The old man looked like he barely understood half of what she just said, but she kept the analysis flowing. Minho wasn't just fighting, he was actively hacking Alex's enhanced senses. If Alex saw a single basic attack coming, he could read that all day, but throw a barrage of simultaneous strikes at him. That system crashes, especially for a rookie running new sensory hardware he hasn't mastered yet. Minho was turning the arena into a sensory nightmare for Alex. And right as Amanda processed this 4D chess move, the realization hit her like a truck. Minho was terrifyingly beyond her calculations. The assistant pointed at Alex's smirk, thinking the guy still had the upper hand. Boom, Minho gets snatched up and slammed into the concrete. The crowd gasps, expecting a splat. But in a blink, Minho vanishes into thin air like a glitch. Suddenly he materializes right in Alex's face, totally scratch-free, staring straight into his soul. Sungwoo flinches as Alex collapses out of nowhere, flailing like he's grappling a ghost. Amanda breaks it down. Minho's repeated jabs to Alex's skull had rattled his brain, causing his sensory perception to lag and misfire enhancements or not. Because of that sensory chaos, Alex hallucinated, grabbing Minho, when in reality, he was clutching empty air. Sungwoo is shook, thinking, is Minho actually stronger than me? The green-eyed monster starts creeping in, especially watching Minho dominate with raw skill while everyone else is doped up on superpowers. Then the drone drops the verdict. Kim Minho wins. The old-timer loses his mind with joy, while the VIP looks ready to flip a table. Post-fight, Minho hits the deck totally running on fumes. Up in the VIP lounge, the girl watches silently, noting that this violence has transcended human limits. It clicks for her now why those previous VIPs lost their sanity. Her bodyguard clarifies the vibe. This isn't just an arena. It's a playground for the elite. Here they harvest money, power, and twisted pleasures way beyond the real world, serving up consequence-free violence and illegal thrills. Tonight, the VIP's egos are the real prize on the line. The girl realizes the second in command is hell-bent on dethroning the top dog. The guard adds that the second director hand-picked his champion, and his scout isn't just skilled, he's got an encyclopedia of combat knowledge. The girl admits the pacing has shifted, everyone's desperate, and the competition just got cutthroat. She predicts the real monster feats are saved for the next rounds. Cut to a new scene. A staffer updates the director all 16 VIPs are in the building. The director is hyped, banking on a massive win this time around. Then, the lab report drops. The sensory doping has hit phase 2, and this time, the nasty side effects are down by 20%. However, that regeneration factor they were hunting for, still a no-show. But the staff refuses to call the batch a failure. They claim the peak effects are just about to kick in. They mention that for the first time, the serum triggered a new mutation that might unlock the regeneration secrets. The director asks, "When do we see this skin armor upgrade?" The staff replies, "Next match." Center stage. Kai is the test subject. Meanwhile, Sungwoo is in the zone, prepping for his turn. The old man gives him some advice. If it gets too gnarly, just tap out. But Sungwoo hits back with zero hesitation. "I'm not quitting." The old man is floored by his chill demeanor, like the kid deleted his fear response. Right then, the drone roars. Kai is entering the arena. Sungwoo locks eyes with him, reflecting that his immunity to fear started back in childhood, surviving a gauntlet of near-death experiences without a scratch. He used to bawl his eyes out, but eventually he just went numb to the danger. Even bullies trying to terrorize him got creeped out by his dead-eyed reaction. Now Sungwoo only has one fear left: his family's safety. The second he spotted Kai, his instinct screamed that this opponent was built different. Manager Yang asked, "What kind of juice is Kai running on?" Kim explained, "It was the debut of the skin enhancement doping." He warned that this buff wasn't just defensive, it was lethal. Kai's skin was basically sandpaper on steroids. One wrong move, and he'd shred flesh and muscle like wet tissue paper. Earlier, Kim clocked that the VIPs were dumping all their cash on Kai. It's obvious why: that left arm training. The leg upgrades, the guy's a machine. Manager Yang Gu is sweating bullets, thinking they should have backed Sungwoo. But Kim keeps it ice cold. The odds are totally stacked. Literally everyone is riding with Kai except for one lone wolf. Someone crazy enough to drop 100 million won on the underdog Sungwoo. Yang Gu's jaw hits the floor. Cut to the mystery roller. A guard asks Sung-young, "You sure about this, boss?" Sung-young just smirks. Gut feeling over stats. There's only one way to take down a vet. Big risks, bigger payouts. Then the drone booms overhead. It's showtime. Kai versus Sungwoo. Sungwoo locks in, eyes blazing. But something's off. Why is Kai just standing there like a statue? Sungwoo calls him out. "You gonna fight, or just stand there modeling?" Kai hits him with that arrogant villain monologue, claiming he's a warrior, not a bully. He slow walks towards Sungwoo, promising to use just 10% of his power. One hit to end it. Bam. In a split second, he launches a kick so fast the camera can barely track it. Sungwoo doesn't even flinch, he freezes. The whole arena gasps. Manager Yang Gu looks like he's seen a ghost. That wasn't a sparring move. That was an execution. Looks like it's lights out already. The old-timer says, "Throw in the towel, save the kid." But Minho, he's not buying it. Look closer. Sungwoo isn't screaming. No agony. Something's weird. Sungwoo realizes the truth. Kai pulled the punch. He wasn't trying to hurt him. He was trying to spook him. Minho breaks it down. Kai isn't being nice. He's embarrassed. Imagine a pro fighter going all out on a high schooler. It's cringe. He's protecting his brand, not the kid. He wants an easy win to save face. Kai leans in, whispering, "You should have played dead, kid. Acting tough won't save you." But Sungwoo snaps back. "Is yapping your superpower? Or do you actually have hands?" That one hit a nerve. Kai looks genuinely shook. He admits he went too easy, and decides to run it back. He launches a full-speed kick, but this time, crack. Sungwoo checks it with his leg. Dead silence falls over the crowd. Kai fires a punch instantly, but Sungwoo weaves past it like water. Kai's eyes go wide. The kid's fast. And when he tries for a headshot, Sungwoo doesn't just dodge. He counters with a straight right to Kai's dome. Yang Gu is losing his mind. And the girl in the stands is practically glowing with hype. Sungwoo starts roasting him. "A dude on his knees in front of a high schooler? Yeah, you don't deserve a shot." Kai is stunned, silent. Sungwoo doubles down. "I don't beat up guys who've already quit." Kai's face twists in rage. "Oh, you want to fight? I'll traumatize you until you beg to quit." He grips Sungwoo's shoulder like a vice. "No more games. I'm ending this." Sungwoo is paralyzed by the pressure. Then boom, a brutal headbutt, backed by 50% of Kai's raw power. Sungwoo's brain rattles, but Kai feels it too, a weird sensation, like hitting a brick wall. Sungwoo tries to fire back a kick, but Kai sidesteps. He notices Sungwoo is still standing after that skull crusher, but the kid is wobbling, vision going blurry, barely holding it together. Kai smells blood. He attacks again. Sungwoo dodges, but the sheer wind pressure shreds his shirt to ribbons. Even the old man is spooked. That wasn't even a direct hit. Minho stays cool as a cucumber. It's not over yet. Kai unleashes everything. A knee strike, straight to Sungwoo's gut, followed instantly by a vicious elbow drop aimed at the spine. The old man screams, "Not the back of the head, that's a kill shot." He's gone too far. The impact is so heavy, the arena floor actually cracks beneath Sung Woo's body. The crowd goes mute. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone is holding their breath. Center stage, Sung Woo is motionless. Kai towers over him, cold and motionless. Like snapping a kid in half was just another Tuesday. The old man is hyperventilating, face pale as a sheet. He mutters, "This is insanity." Pure fear in his voice. He's just a student. Sung Woo might be dead meat. Minho, standing nearby, cuts in with zero emotion. "You got one thing right." He ignores the old man's panic. Kai really is a monster, just like the rumors said. The old man looks at Minho confused, missing the point completely. Sung Woo is still face-planted in the concrete rubble. Kai stares down, thoughts racing. He's just wondering one thing. What's the deal with this guy? Kai sensed a glitch in the matrix right before throwing that elbow. Sung Woo just slammed his own skull into the concrete. Like seriously, is he trying to self-destruct or playing 4D chess? Then a voice drifted up from the floor, soft but cutting like a knife. "Just dodging a fatal blow to my occipital lobe," Sung Woo rasped. Weak yet crystal clear. Call it fear, or call it high-speed processing. It was my only play. Kai's eyes went wide. He watched Sung Woo rise from the dead, zero quit in his system. Even with an iron skull, if that elbow connected clean, it would have been lights out. Sung Woo finished. Kai couldn't believe it. How is this kid still vertical? Is he on something? No, scratch that. Sung Woo's clean. The last guy was the one who overdosed and checked out early. So what's driving this engine? Even the old man was shook. What is this sorcery? How is he rebooting again? He muttered, totally lost. Even Minho, usually the Ice King, raised an eyebrow. He tried to play it off fast. It's chill, don't sweat it. But internally, Minho was spiraling. Yeah, Sung Woo was a beast, but this was glitchy behavior. He kept respawning like he took zero damage. And just like that, Sung Woo was fully back on his feet, gasping for air but eyes burning with laser focus. Kai stared, stunned. Yo kid, stop pushing your luck. Just flop and stay down, I'll buy it. Don't wreck yourself for nothing. Sung Woo took a deep breath, locked eyes, and fired back. You still yapping? His tone was sharp, pure defiance. Can't keep your mouth shut for 1 second, can you? Kai was legit confused. Did the impact scramble his brain, or is he just built different? One thing was certain, this ain't over. Sung Woo wasn't folding. He inhaled deeply, snapped back into fighting stance. Eyes locked on target. A faint smirk played on his lips. Where'd all that swagger go? You know, I can do this all day. Dripping with confidence. His spirit, unbreakable. Kai, face like a stone mask, shot back. Talk is cheap, but when the math says you lose, why bother? Why waste the battery life? Then dropping a mocking gesture, Kai threw his arms wide, chest wide open. Tell you what, let's spice this up. Hit me with everything you got. I won't block. Sung Woo paused. A flicker of confusion then, his gaze hardened like steel. So that's how it is. Huh, you've been ignoring me because you think I'm weak sauce. Look down on me. That's fine. But now you're so hyped on yourself you're just straight up trolling. Kai didn't flinch. I am the apex. I've walked through hell to prove it. I dominated the rings, stacked up championship belts. But nobody could satisfy my hunger. I needed more. I had to level up. When you're chasing Ultimate Warrior status, you take massive risks. I joined a syndicate where heads rolled for cash. Then a shadowy org that erased enemies on sight. I bulldozed everyone who stood in my path. I am the last man standing, the strongest there is. Sung Woo stood his ground, spirit unbreakable. You think you've seen the endgame? Nah, this is a whole new level. The real boss battle starts now. Silence. Then, Sung Woo launched himself at Kai like a missile, fist cocked and loaded. Kai just smirked, arms wide, shields down. Bring it. Won't change a thing, he taunted. Sung Woo channeled every ounce of power and buried his fist into Kai's gut. Boom. The impact rippled through the arena. The ground literally shook beneath them. The crowd went dead silent. Why did he tank that? Was he crazy? But Kai stood like a statue, not an inch given, face still cold as ice. He looked down. I told you, didn't I? It's pointless. A high school kid doesn't have the horsepower to scratch me. Then, a glitch. Kai's eyes flickered. Confusion set in. A feeling he hadn't felt in ages crept up. Crack. Something deep inside him shattered like broken glass. Sung Woo didn't lag. He unleashed a haymaker to Kai's ribs. This time Kai's poker face cracked. He felt that one. Shockwaves rattled his skeleton. Pain he'd never known vibrated through his core. Kai was still buffering when Sung Woo snapped a high kick at his head. But Kai wasn't making the same mistake twice. He caught the kick face twisting into a demon mask. How dare you, he roared, voice dripping with pure rage. He fired back a brutal counter, a punch heavy enough to split boulders. Sung Woo sensed the nuke coming and scrambled to dodge. But the speed. It was glitch level fast. Kai's elbow didn't just move, it barely clipped Sung Woo's chest, but that was enough to slice him open. A deep gash bloomed crimson. Sung Woo registered the sting, but he ate the pain, keeping his face stone cold. The arena crackled with pure static. Everyone was leaning forward, on the edge of their seats. The momentum had shifted. Both fighters knew this was no longer a spar, it was about to become a savage, ruthless war. Sung Woo's expression tightened. He realized that last dodge wasn't clean. He'd barely scraped by. He scrambled back to create distance. The arena went dead silent, an eerie calm before the storm. They locked eyes, statues in the ring. Kai shattered the tension, his voice dropping to sub-zero temperatures. Not bad. You had your shots. Got anything else in the tank? Sung Woo's reply was low, steady. Yeah. A slow, cocky grin spread across his face, throwing Kai off for a split second. Sung Woo grabbed the hem of his tee. Remember what you said earlier, then rip. He tore the shirt right off, upper body exposed. The guy wasn't just fit, he was carved out of granite, a living roadmap of pure grind and struggle. The crowd gasped. The old man with the glasses nearly dropped them. He never expected a high school kid to be built like a tank. The air in the room got heavy. Locking eyes with Kai, Sung Woo dropped his voice. Guess I don't get a free hit now, huh? Kai narrowed his eyes, giving a slight nod. You're strong, I'll give you that. But beating me, you're miles away. Suddenly, Kai's energy flared up, a blinding blue aura that spiked his power to absolutely terrifying levels. I'm going 100%, Kai announced. His presence morphed into something monstrous. Sung Woo felt the pressure crushing down, but that cocky smirk, it didn't budge. His gaze remained locked on the target. He was ready to face Kai's full wrath. On the sidelines, the old-timer looked bewildered, muttering under his breath. Why is the kid still smiling? Meanwhile, Amanda was glued to the action, whispering, now the real fun begins. Her hype was peaking. The old man shook his head, total disbelief written on his face. Interesting, this is going to be a massacre. Kai is going all out, it's going to be a slaughterhouse. Amanda shot back, cool as ice. A fight isn't just about raw stats. When your opponent acknowledges you, especially a beast like Kai, that's when the real battle starts. The old man frowned. What good is respect if you end up flattened? Amanda's voice softened. It's about the spirit of the fight. I've felt it. When people sleep on you, but then finally have to take you seriously. That moment right there, that's the real dub. From the sidelines, Minho murmured, I feel that. People doubted me because of my size. But when you force them to respect you, when you see that fear flicker in their eyes, you realize every drop of sweat was worth it. For the first time, a faint smile touched Minho's lips. The old man still looked shaky but whispered, maybe I'm starting to get it. But can Sung Woo actually survive Kai at full throttle? The tension in the arena was thick enough to cut with a knife. Stakes were through the roof. Both fighters stood their ground. The million-dollar question was, could Sung Woo handle Kai Unleashed, the guy who had never taken an L when he went all out? Sung Woo's grin widened. His aura surged back to life. I'll kick things off. He launched himself at Kai max speed fist, loaded with pure grit. Kai didn't flinch. He caught Sung Woo's punch, effortlessly with one hand. Sung Woo's brain short-circuited. What is this guy made of? His fist felt like it just slammed into a reinforced concrete wall. Kai snapped a counter with his free hand. Sung Woo managed a desperate block, but the sheer force spiked him into the ground. The entire arena floor shuddered. Even with the block, the impact was savage. Sung Woo's breath hitched, ragged, and shallow. His body was already screaming from Kai's overwhelming power. But Kai, he wasn't done. He locked onto Sung Woo's weakened stance, moving with lethal precision to end the game. He threw a devastating knee strike that pulverized the arena floor. Sung Woo barely rolled out of the kill zone, but he wasn't fast enough. A deep gash opened up on his back. The crowd was paralyzed by that display of force. A near miss caused that much wreckage. From the sidelines, Minho watched closely, muttering. He dodged, but not completely. That fresh slash on Sung Woo's back was proof of how deadly Kai's attacks were. Gasping for air, Sung Woo tried to steady his breathing. Sweat dripped down his face. One thought echoed in his skull, the power gap was massive. For the first time, genuine fear knocked on the door of his heart. It was crystal clear now. Kai wasn't just strong. The guy was a total beast, towering over him like an unmovable mountain. Kai shot him a gaze cold enough to freeze hell and spat out. You see it now, don't you? The massive gap in our levels. You can grind all you want, but you're never taking the W. So why even bother struggling? Sung Woo's eyes went steel hard. A fresh spark of grit ignited in his pupils. He took his time, keeping his voice steady as a rock. Don't make me laugh. You think you're the only monster in the ring. I've been treated like a freak my whole life. The second the words left his mouth, Sung Woo dipped low, coiled his muscles like a spring, and exploded forward with a lethal elbow strike. But Kai just shifted a fraction of an inch, sidestepping the hit like it was nothing. Sung Woo whiffed, completely stumbling off balance. But quitting. Not in his DNA. He snapped back instantly, launching a savage headbutt. A twisted, sadistic grin curled up Kai's face. My turn, he iced out. Bam. Their skulls collided in a sickening simultaneous crack. The impact was heavy, but Kai had the stats faster, stronger, deadlier. A shockwave rippled through Sung Woo's entire frame, leaving him shaking from the concussive force. His legs turned to jelly, and he crumbled to the mat. Kai loomed over him like a dark tower, speaking with a voice absolute zero. It's a wrap. Your hits are soft and your tank is empty. You aren't even worth my time. But instead of tapping out, a low, creepy chuckle slipped past Sung Woo's lips. The chuckle morphed into a full-blown cackle echoing off the arena walls. Kai's expression twitched, pure annoyance flashing in his eyes. What's so funny? He growled. Sung Woo just grinned, wider, looking like a total psycho. Voice steady, he clapped back. If this is over, why am I still on my feet? That snapped Kai's patience. Boom, raw blue energy erupted from his body. He maxed out his power level, his aura crackling like live voltage. The air got so heavy, it felt like gravity just doubled. Kai wound up for the kill shot, but then he froze. Something was off. Sung Woo was starting to glow too. Started as a flicker, but every second it dialed up brighter and brighter. Ignoring the agonizing pain, Sung Woo forced himself up. That aura he'd been bottling up. It just spiked to match Kai's level perfectly. The whole arena went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop as everyone locked eyes on the duel. Against Kai's god-tier strength stood Sung Woo's wildcard power. And nobody, literally nobody, could guess what was coming next. Sung Woo was pulsating with this intense, fiery radiance. A blood-red aura poured off him, thickening the air like smog. Over in the corner, the old-timer screamed, sweating bullets. This intensity is insane. It feels like my blood is evaporating. But his voice got drowned out by the roar of Sung Woo's energy. A terrifying light blazed in the kid's eyes as a storm of memories crashed through his mind. Fighting. I've always hated it. Flashbacks hit him dazed, dragging himself home, covered in cuts and bruises, seeing the pure disappointment in his mom's eyes. Everyone looked at me like a monster. Maybe they were right, he thought. Sometimes I even believed it. Old wounds throbbed, but this time, something else had snapped inside the arena. Something dark, something feral. This place is making me lose it. A twisted laugh bubbled up from his gut, echoing through the stadium like a hollow nightmare sound. What is this rush? Why can't I stop? His gaze locked onto Kai like a heat-seeking missile. His grin stretched unnaturally wide. No choice. Gotta fight this beast. Gotta catch this dub. The second Sung Woo's feral aura cut loose, Kai moved at light speed. He launched a high kick aimed straight for decapitation. But the script had flipped. Sung Woo's instincts were wide awake, pulling a move that defied physics. He corkscrewed in the air like a coiled spring, vaulting right over Kai's strike. Mid-air, he reached out and palmed Kai's face fingers, digging into the skull like claws. Before Kai could even blink, Sung Woo smashed a savage headbutt right into his nose. Crack. The sound of breaking bone echoed through the arena. Kai stumbled back, brain rebooting. How did he get this buffed? But Sung Woo wasn't done playing. Riding the momentum, he flipped mid-air and stomped both feet squarely onto Kai's back. The force was nuclear. Kai went flying into the arena wall, shattering the concrete on impact. The crowd forgot to breathe, jaws on the floor. Kai tried to scrape himself up, groaning. His chest heaved, gasping for air. How was he moving like that? Panic started to set in. Before he could process, a fist came flying at him like a lightning bolt, connecting dead center with his face, plastering him against the wall again. The hit was so heavy he couldn't even flinch. Kai gritted his teeth and managed to catch Sung Woo's next swing. He clamped down on the wrist grip like a vice. Gotcha, he thought. But the second he locked eyes with Sung Woo, a cold chill shot down his spine, a resolve as cold as ice burning like fire. A psycho grin slowly spread across Sung Woo's face. With a violent twist, he broke the grip and knocked Kai off balance, then yanked him straight into the kill zone. Zero hesitation, Sung Woo unleashed a barrage of furious haymakers. Every hit was faster, deadlier. Each impact slammed into Kai like a bolt of lightning. Guard shattered, vision swimming. What is happening? How is he moving like that? No time to think. Sung Woo saw the opening, let out a feral roar, and threw the finisher right to the gut with max power. The whole arena shuddered. A shockwave ripped through the air. Kai screamed, launched backward, and slammed hard into the concrete. For the first time in years, the invincible Kai felt it. Real pain, crushing agony he never thought possible. This can't be real. His brain scrambled for logic. Is Sung Woo juicing? No way. Nobody gets that swole that fast. But Sung Woo gave him zero breathing room. That glowing aura flared up. He charged Kai again. Wearing that nightmare smile, Kai screamed, voice cracking with frustration. Don't you ever tire, what are you? Sung Woo was gone, totally lost in the power. No answer. His fists became a blur of lightning. Kai managed to block a few, but Sung Woo's offense was like a loose cannon. This is insanity, Kai thought. No human moves like this. Sung Woo started hammering Kai's ribs and back. Thud, thud, thud. Too fast, too heavy. Counterattacking wasn't even an option. Pure panic set in. Every hit brought a new wave of agony. Then boom. Sung Woo landed a full power shot to the jaw. The force was savage. Kai went airborne again, smashing into the arena floor. The crowd went dead silent. A high school kid also did that. Minds blown. The kid they thought was weak had just dismantled the scariest fighter alive. Kai lay there, still, body wrecked, surrounded by a growing pool of crimson, staring blankly at the ceiling. What the hell just happened? The unbreakable Kai, broken, by a simple student. For the first time in forever, Kai was beat down, bleeding, and done. On the other side, Sungwoo stood there heaving, the red aura faded, but that savage fire in his eyes, still burning. He scanned the arena. The old man gasped. He did it. He actually pulled off the impossible. But deep in his mind, a weak voice echoed. The arena was tomb quiet. All eyes glued to Kai's motionless body. The old man stuttered, Is he alive? He's not moving. That's so much blood. Amanda shook her head tense. That's not Kai's blood. It's Sungwoo's. The guy's eyes popped. Say what? Amanda broke it down. All that blood on Kai. It's from Sungwoo's knuckles. He destroyed his hands, punching against Kai's iron skin. Center stage, Sungwoo gasped for air. He looked down at his fists. Meat hamburger. Skin shredded, white bone peeking through. What is this? Everything hurts. Feels like my muscles are ripping apart. Vision fading. Then disbelief, he saw Kai. Standing up. In the VIP box, the girl's voice shook. How? How is Kai getting up? After taking a beating like that, that's impossible. The bald man leaned in, laser focused. Kai is using. His skin morphs into an impenetrable shell, tanking hits like a raid boss. But this armor isn't just a shield. It's a jagged wall, tearing Sungwoo to shreds. Look at those knuckles, pulverized down to the white of the bone. The girl watching is absolutely devastated. So, Sungwoo can't win. Are we done? In the ring, Kai stood tall, chest heaving. This pain. Never felt anything like it. What is this kid made of? Why won't he quit? Eyes twitching, blinking away the blur. I'm tapped out. Can barely see. Gotta end this. Now. Kai took a deep breath, locked eyes with Sungwoo, raised his fists. Let's wrap this up, kid. One way or another. With renewed grit, Kai charged, but Sungwoo dodged. His reflexes were even sharper now. Kai's kick whiffed air, and Sungwoo clenched his mangled hands, throwing another max power punch. How is he still that fast, Kai thought, blocking just in time. But the impact sent a shockwave of pain through his body. Yet Sungwoo felt it 1,000 times worse. His fists were absolute wreckage, every impact tearing him apart. Blood dripped from his knuckles, turning the arena floor a sickening shade of crimson. I can't feel my hands. Just the fire. Am I even hurting him? Or am I just breaking myself? Kai sensed the hesitation and flashed a twisted grin. Come on, kid. Let's rip each other to shreds. His eyes gleamed with pure danger. Kai threw himself back into the fray, holding nothing back. I'm going until there's nothing left standing. Both fighters unleashed a relentless storm of strikes, refusing to give an inch. Sungwoo's fists screamed in agony as they connected. Kai's skin was like a brutal shield, deflecting every hit. Sungwoo's body was cracking under the exhaustion, his fists going totally numb. The pain was blinding, his thoughts blurring into static. Feels like my mind is drifting away. I can't hold on much longer. Meanwhile, Kai was shook. How much punishment can this kid eat? He's tanking everything without flinching. For the first time, Kai felt a flicker of doubt, but it vanished when he felt a glitch. A sensation he hadn't felt in years. What is this? My strength. His punches started losing their sting. His body screamed at him to stop. No time to waste. His eyes locked onto Sungwoo's exhausted frame. Decision made. I'm ending this right now. Kai's eyes flared up. He saw the perfect opening. Gotcha. Summoning every ounce of remaining strength, he cocked his leg back, winding up for a devastating finisher. His low kick slammed into Sungwoo's leg with force that shattered bone. The sound thundered through the arena like a cannon shot, and for a split second, Kai felt like his soul left his body. Sungwoo lost his footing, eyes drifting to the ceiling as gravity took over. I'm going down. Kai didn't waste a beat. This is it. He pulled his leg back again, ready to deliver the crushing final blow. But Sungwoo pulled a move nobody saw coming. Instead of dodging or blocking the kick, he met it head-on with his own leg. The old man watched in shock. Sungwoo countered that strike using his bare bones. That move is pure agony. The crowd was convinced Sungwoo's bones must have been pulverized into dust, absolutely shredded. The impact sent him crashing to the floor. This was his worst-case scenario. You could see the flesh on his leg torn open by Kai's dope-fueled kick. Sungwoo knew this, just got real dangerous. His body refused to move an inch. Right then, Kai launched another kick, the final ruthless attack. But then, the impossible happened. Snap. Kai's leg broke. The entire arena went dead silent. The bone breaker just got his own bones fractured. Kai couldn't process it. His skin was reinforced, so how did it snap? And it wasn't just his leg, his arm joints were already wrecked from the start of the fight. Sungwoo figured it out. Kai had steel skin, but inside, just a normal human. So Sungwoo risked it all. He sacrificed his own flesh to use his naturally dense bones as a weapon. And it worked. The impact shuddered through Kai's whole body, cracking his bones. Manager Yanggu was stunned. How Kai had no external wounds, but inside, his bones were already compromised. They couldn't handle the shock. Sung Woo's bones were like solid steel. Kai basically punched a brick wall with bare hands. Reinforced skin doesn't save human insides. The winner was clear. Sung Woo let out a savage roar of victory. The old man watching was filled with awe and joy. Sung Woo really was a miracle kid. After a beatdown like that, he was still standing. Minho was totally convinced now. Sung Woo was definitely hiding something. No normal human has that raw power without juice. Meanwhile, the Underground Coliseum boss was monitoring the feed. "Is that kid really fighting clean?" he asked. The professor nodded. "Yeah, that's what the report says. Test him again, the second round one ends." Just to be sure, the boss needed to know everything about this kid. Who is he? Where's he from? Step 1. Track down Sung Woo's parents. Because that level of power, not normal. On the other side of town, at the hospital, where Sung Woo's folks were admitted, a man slipped silently into their room. Sung Woo's mom woke up thinking it was a nurse. Nope, 2 shady guys in black suits. Back at the arena, Sung Woo, covered in cuts and bruises, was hauled off to the recovery room. Seeing him in that state, manager Yanggu started to sweat. Can Sung Woo even survive the next round? During the physical exams, Yanggu and Kim were cooking up a shady scheme. They planned to spike Sung Woo with doping agents without him having a clue. If Sung Woo clutches the victory in the next fight, he's on the fast track to the championship league. But the competition was about to get insane. Yanggu hesitated though, because the rulebook explicitly states no juice without the fighter's consent. Kim, smooth as a snake, talked him into it. "Relax, it's just a test run on Sung Woo's system. We just gotta see if he reacts. Even if it kicks in, there won't be any physical signs. No one is gonna bust us." They figured Sung Woo was built different, literally, not like a normal human, so there was a solid chance the drugs wouldn't even work on him. If that theory held up, the boss would decide whether to keep him or trash him. Cut to the recovery room. Sung Woo is just chilling on the bed. A shadow creeps up on him, syringe in hand. Meanwhile, back at the arena, manager Yanggu and Kim were deep in conversation. According to the bracket, one more win gets Sung Woo into the top 16. That's VIP territory, only high-stakes fighters allowed. Yanggu doubted anyone would bet on a damaged fighter, but Kim pointed out a massive detail. Sung Woo already dominated 2 fights completely clean. People are watching. In the entire history of this underground fight club, nobody has ever won a bout without juicing. If Sung Woo crushes his 3rd match in spectacular fashion, all eyes will be on him. Still, Kim thought they should start scouting other talent because winning Raw like that is basically impossible long-term. Plus, the boss could easily snatch up fresh meat fighters who aren't signed to any syndicate yet. Besides, Sung Woo needs a reality check. If he wants to save his parents, he's gonna have to shoot up eventually. So manager Yanggu made a risky call. If Sung Woo's body rejects the dope, he's garbage. Toss him out. Sung Woo was completely clueless that Kim had been pulling the strings the whole time. Or that if he became useless, the support for his parents would vanish instantly. Everything was going smoothly because Sung Woo was too busy trying to survive the ring to check on his folks. He'd just keep fighting until he lost or dropped dead. Manager Yanggu was still shaky though, because Sung Woo's raw power was insane even without the upgrades. Kim figured the manager was gambling with his own life by pulling this stunt. And Kim, he was fully ready to help the boss eliminate his own brother to seize control of the company. Ruthless. For Kim, the underground arena was a thrill ride, for exactly this reason, hunting for the ultimate weapon rising from the gutter. That's why he backed the boss, so he could handpick the gladiators himself. Yanggu had zero clue that his longtime partner was actually a total psychopath hiding in plain sight. A bit later, an agent returned with the doping test results. And wow, total shocker. Sung Woo's body didn't react to the drugs at all. That is incredibly rare. Kim was convinced now. His system couldn't absorb the enhancers. Huge bummer, considering the kid's skeletal structure was god tier. Manager Yanggu made the call, pull the plug, on Sung Woo's parents' medical treatment. Basically, he wanted to remove them to speed things up. Brutal. A while later, all the fighters were herded into the combat lobby. Seeing the crowd, Minho realized the final roster of the 67 fighters was set in stone. The old man looked a little stressed, because Sung Woo was nowhere to be found. He figured the kid was still wrecked from that last savage brawl. On the flip side, Amanda thought the downtime was a blessing, because the rules say the next round doesn't start until every single fighter is back to 100%. When Minho watched Amanda stretch, his jaw dropped. It looked like her legs didn't even have bones. In this arena, you get hurt or you die. Those are the options. But the 3 of them survived, securing spots among the 62 winners. Minho was shook by the old man's hidden strength. His hands hulked out so massive he could easily ragdoll his opponents. The old guy laughed, admitting he didn't expect the dope to sync so perfectly with his muscle fibers. But it wasn't just him. Minho started realizing Amanda was no ordinary girl. There was something about her that screamed dangerous. She barely used her hands, yet she dropped opponents like flies. Minho couldn't figure it out. Her moves were so fast they were a blur. When Minho asked for her secret, Amanda just flashed a smirk and dodged the question. Not telling. Who knows, I might have to beat you up tomorrow. Meanwhile, manager Yang Gu was back in his office. He turned to Kim, asking if he had any killer candidates to recommend. Kim didn't waste a heartbeat firing off the dossier. The file flashed a name, Ryu Ichika. That was the monster Sung Woo had to survive in the next round. For Kim, the setup was flawless. This was his golden ticket to delete Sung Woo and his entire family from the equation permanently. Meanwhile, in the recovery room, Sung Woo's eyes snapped open, panic mode engaged. He started screaming desperate, calling out for his mom. But this wasn't some fever dream. His mind flashed back to the reality he had heard, the agents whispering while they prepped the needles, conspiring in the shadows. If the serum doesn't take, we neutralize the parents. Then we end the kid in the ring. Adrenaline spiked through his veins. Sung Woo knew he had to break out of this hellhole right now if he wanted to save his folks. Cut to the VIP suite. The arena director leaned back in his leather chair, drilling the head scientist with an intense stare. Give me the intel on Sung Woo's physiology. The scientist's voice trembled with excitement. Sir, it's exactly as we feared. This kid is a freak of nature. The doping cocktail's zero effect. And his bone density is off the charts, literally 10 times denser than a normal human being. It defies physics. It's practically a biological miracle, like some kind of divine gift. But that wasn't the kicker. Sung Woo's recovery rate was glitching the system. It wasn't just healing. It was full-blown cellular regeneration. When the scientist handed over the tablet, the director's jaw hit the floor. This was way above his pay grade. They'd been dumping millions into regeneration, tech, and doping research. Now it looked like Sung Woo's body was the living key to unlocking their entire project. The director snapped. Did we secure the assets? The parents? They needed leverage to keep their lab rat under control. But the scientist looked down, sweating bullets. Sir, someone beat us to them. They were gone before our team arrived. Back in the recovery room, Sung Woo was spiraling. He slammed the door open, ready to bolt, but his exit was blocked. A girl stood there cool as ice, flashing a confident smirk. Hey there, I'm Sung Yeon. Sung Woo tried to shove past. He didn't have time for small talk. Then she dropped the nuke. Stop running. You don't need to search for your parents. Because I already snatched them up. Elsewhere, manager Younggu's phone buzzed with the update. Sung Woo's parents had vanished into thin air. Kim figured the arena goons pulled it off. Younggu decided to stay in his lane. Messing with the arena's internal affairs was a death wish. Better to play dumb. Younggu pivoted the conversation immediately. Did we lock in the next opponent? Kim didn't even look up, totally unbothered. Chill out. The VIPs hold the leash on every fighter here. They snap their fingers, we jump. Doesn't matter the zone as long as the cash flows. Back in the hallway, Sung Woo went nuclear when he heard about his folks. Joan didn't flinch. Cool your jets, hotshot. You try to run now, and you doom them. But Sung Woo wasn't hearing it. He was ready to throw hands. I'll crush anyone who stands in my way. That's when Joan hit him with the cold, hard reality check. Listen, the guy who scouted you, he's cutting loose ends. That means wiping you and your parents off the map. Oh, and that loan shark you beat to a pulp back home? Yeah, he's hunting you down too. She stepped closer, invading his personal space. I came here solo, no bodyguards, no backup, just to show you I'm serious. Sung Woo blinked, totally thrown off. Who are you? Why do this? She grinned, eyes sharp. Simple. I want you. Don't let the age fool you. She was one of the Elite 16 VIPs with all access passes to the underground arena. While the other corporations were stuck watching the live stream, she was in the inner circle. She made it clear the enemies targeting his family weren't going to stop. You bolt now, you're just painting a bigger target on their backs. There's only one play here. You want to save them. You have to keep winning. I don't care what monsters they throw at you. She paused for dramatic effect. I'm betting my entire company's shares on you. I'm taking my two brothers down. You keep winning, I take the throne. I'll seize my father's empire, kick my siblings to the curb, and pay off those loan sharks with chump change. Sung Woo hesitated, suspicion written all over his face. You expect me to believe a deal made in a place like this? Joan's expression hardened. The underground has a code. VIPs and fighters honor the contract. You break it, you get erased. Reputation is everything down here. And remember, without a VIP sponsor, you're trash. You get flushed automatically. We need each other to survive. Sung Woo clenched his jaw. He wasn't buying it. To him, these rich kids were all parasites looking to exploit him. Jeanne couldn't show him a photo security stripped all devices at the door. It was just her word against his suspicion. But she had an ace up her sleeve. I know secrets about your genetics that even you don't know. That stopped Sung Woo cold. He was officially shook. So many skeletons falling out of the family closet. Just as he opened his mouth to dig deeper, the door flew open. The clock had run out. Before bailing, John leaned in, whispering straight into his ear, I'm going all in to save your folks. Forget running. Just hold up your end of the bargain. Keep fighting, keep winning. Cut to the door slamming open. Both heads snapped around, nerves jangling at the sudden noise. A guide drone hovered into the room. Sung Woo stood there, completely tongue-tied. John's bombshell had silenced him. For the first time ever, he was fresh out of comebacks. He was paralyzed between total disbelief and a tiny flicker of hope. The drone hovered right in their faces, buzzing with that robotic monotone. Checkout time. John vanished without a backward glance, leaving Sung Woo rooted to the spot. That conversation kept replaying on a loop. Every syllable spiraled in his brain, practically forcing him to buy into the hype. He was trapped in this hellhole. Trusting anyone 100%, that was a luxury he didn't have. But now he was staring down a choice that could either save his family or wipe them out. The pressure was crushing his chest. Smash cut to waiting room 10, a cramped 5-person setup where Sung Woo's squad was huddled up. Every fighter had their guide hovering close, while the old man was glued to the prize rankings on the big screen. He called out to the room, "Since you guys crushed that last round, your rankings have seriously spiked." As the stats flashed, the old man's eyes locked onto Sung Woo's slot. He gave a subtle, worried headshake. Even Sung Woo's bounty jumped, but those injuries wrecked him. A kid nearby chimed in. "He's still in recovery mode, right? Must have been a bloodbath. No VIP is going to drop cash on damaged goods." Suddenly, the door slid open, and the guide drone blared. "Player Sung Woo has returned to waiting room 10. Sung Woo stepped in right behind the bot, and every pair of eyes in the room drilled into him. The old man broke the silence first. "You look way less dead than I expected." You could hear the relief in his tone. Sung Woo scanned the room with a bitter glare, muttering under his breath. "Looks like everyone else walked away without a single scratch." His voice dripped with disappointment, throwing the old man off guard. "What's that supposed to mean?" Sung Woo kept his eyes glued to the floor. "I got absolutely wrecked in my last match. You guys are skilled, powerful, dangerous, and it's got me thinking. Maybe I'm just weak compared to you." His voice shook with pure frustration, knuckles turning white. The old man and Amanda shot each other a worried look. Sung Woo radiated a mix of rage and gritty determination. "No matter what, I have to make the round of 16. If I don't, my family is as good as dead." The desperation was palpable. He spun toward the old man and Amanda. "Please help me. I need to get stronger. I'll do whatever it takes." The old man eyed him, a mix of shock and concern on his face. He opened his mouth, but Sung Woo cut him off. "Tell me, old man, am I a lost cause? Do I not belong here?" Amanda slashed through the silence, her voice commanding. "You need a signature finisher." Sung Woo and the old man stared at her, intense and curious. Amanda locked her sharp gaze on Sung Woo. No fighter truly owns the ring without a trademark kill shot. And in this hellscape where we're brawling with literal monsters, a lethal finisher isn't optional. She stalked toward him. "Do you even know what your ace in the hole is? Sung Woo, what's your ultimate weapon?" Sung Woo froze, eyes wide. "My ace," he stammered, unsure. I don't know." The old man crouched down, tapping Sung Woo's shin. "How about a calf kick?" he mused, using the shin bone. Sung Woo stared at him, wheels turning. The old man went on, "I've trained a hell of a lot of fighters, but barely anyone has the leg control and raw power you do. In that last bout, your shin ate a full-force low kick from Kai, and you didn't even buckle. That's freakish bone density." The memory of that brutal clash with Kai flooded back. He could feel every ferocious impact all over again. He nodded slowly. "I trust the strength of my bones." His voice held a new weight. The old man stood up, energized. "Calf kicks aren't just spam moves anymore, Sung Woo. They've evolved sophisticated and honestly lethal. If you master this, you can chop a giant down with a single strike. It's a clutch move that'll save your skin when it counts." He broke down the stance, the angle, and the torque, executing a flawless demo of the calf kick. "It ain't about brute strength. Technique is king. Hit it with the right form and the damage is catastrophic." Sung Woo dropped into the stance, downloading every detail. With one sharp, focused breath, he unleashed a thunderous kick straight into the wall. The sound wasn't just loud, it was explosive, a sharp crack echoing off the walls. The old man's eyes popped wide open in shock. Then a massive grin split his face. "That sound," he chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "Sung Woo, you were born for this. You're finally getting the hang of it." But right as they soaked in that small moment of victory, boom! Thunderous impacts slammed against the walls from the next room. The entire floor shuddered under the force. The old man's grin vanished, replaced by a dark shadow of dread. Where the hell is that coming from? Heavy, rhythmic thuds vibrated down the hallway, drowning out the room with their echo. Smash cut to the source of the chaos. Behind a locked door, a silhouette moved with terrifying surgical precision. Every strike was savage, raw, and exploding with power. Meet Ryo Ichika. He's the nightmare waiting for Sung Woo in the next bracket. Rank 15 in the prize pool. The guy is a living weapon, blending lethal skill with pure brute force. Just his presence was enough to freeze your blood, and his training routine was a grim reminder of the absolute monsters lurking in the upcoming rounds. The scene snapped back to the tension in room 10. The old man leaned in, voice urgent. "Listen, Sung Woo, if you drop your opponent, With a flawless calf kick, you end it instantly. No messy brawls. And, if you make it to the next round without a scratch, your prize ranking skyrockets. More eyes on you means bigger bets. And massive payouts. Sung Woo opened his mouth to reply, but Whoosh Manon materialized right behind him. Sung Woo scrambled back, heart pounding. Total shock painted his face. This isn't gonna cut it, Menon stated, stone-faced. He scanned the room, dead serious. Do you guys still not get it? He looked at them like they were idiots. Did you seriously miss that? Sung Woo already has a signature move. The old man blinked, confused. What are you getting at, Menon? Menon stepped closer, pointing a finger at Sung Woo, his headbutt. A manic glint sparked in his eyes. Review the tape against Kai. How many savage headshots did he tank while staying on his feet? Like it was nothing. That's not normal, folks. Sung Woo has the hardest skull I've ever seen. Sung Woo's jaw hit the floor. He realized Menon had been analyzing every microsecond of his fighting style. Menon's eyes narrowed with disturbing excitement. I want to test that skull of yours, Sung Woo. He lunged forward, but Sung Woo flinched back, desperate to keep some distance. The old man immediately threw up a hand. Hold on. A harder headbutt damages the attacker too. That's a huge gamble, especially against the freaks in this pavilion. Sung Woo shook his head, flashbacks of the Kai fight flooding in. If I keep using my head as a battering ram, I'm risking brain damage. Or worse, I might not even survive 2 rounds. Menon's face twisted into pure disappointment and frustration. Weird thing for you to say, Sung Woo. Intense fire burned in his gaze. You think anyone steps into this ring without putting their life on the line? In this arena, everyone knows the stakes are life or death. You think you can climb the ranks without pushing your body to the breaking point? The room went dead silent. Menon's words hung heavy like a guillotine. Sung Woo's heart hammered against his ribs. He realized that no matter how much skill he had, it meant nothing if he wouldn't embrace the danger. Menon slowly drew a finger across his throat. If you hold back, you have a 100% guarantee of dying. The chilling gesture lingered in the air, piercing everyone to the core. The old man gritted his teeth. He couldn't argue. Deep down, he knew Menon was right, no matter how brutal the truth was. Menon shot a steel glare at the old man and leaned in close. You're in no position to be worrying about Sung Woo. The old man flinched at the harsh reality. Menon continued, his face grim. You're up next, aren't you? And your opponent is Min Soo Han. Rank 9. He's not someone you can sleep on. The weight of those words settled over them, and a shadow of pure dread crossed the old man's face. Cut to a dimly lit control room, where the pavilion director was scrolling through Min Soo Han's stats on a digital tablet. This kid's doping levels are absolutely terrifying, the director muttered, swiping through the data. Behind him, a creepy row of stasis pods held various fighters suspended in liquid, half-resting, half-lab rat. Kai was floating in there too. The director glanced at his subordinate, a doctor standing respectfully by his side. You did well bringing him in, he said, eyes glued to Min Soo's stats. The doctor, Min Soo's own father, bowed low. Thank you. It's only by your mercy that my son could receive this treatment and enter the combat pavilion. As he bowed, his mind drifted back to that one dark night that changed everything. He remembered sprinting home. That day, the guilt paralyzed him. He stood frozen, apologies dying in his throat as he stared at Min Soo, sprawled on the floor. The boy was a wreck. His body had zero strength left to push himself up. The muscles in his arms and legs completely atrophied, wasted away by a rare degenerative nightmare. Dad, Min Soo whispered from the ground, locking eyes with him. I fell. I can't get up. Help me. Despair hit the doctor like a freight train. Tears blurred his vision as he dropped to his knees beside his broken boy. He was a savior to strangers, a doctor who fixed everyone else, but he couldn't save his own flesh and blood. And as time ticked by, Min Soo's condition just spiraled. Every new symptom was another crack in the doctor's soul, shattering his spirit piece by piece. Just when rock bottom hit, a shady message arrived from a total stranger claiming to be the director of the combat pavilion. The doctor was cornered. He swallowed his doubts and headed to the address provided. When he arrived, it just looked like a generic office building, nothing suspicious on the outside. But inside, a dark, creepy staircase plunging deep underground. His heart was hammering against his ribs, but for his son, he took the first step. At the bottom, he found a lab. Rows of glass pods glowing in the gloom. An eerie space filled with people suspended in liquid, hooked up to wires and tubes undergoing some twisted experiment. It was straight-up nightmare fuel. But to the doctor's desperate eyes, it didn't look like horror. It looked like a chance. He saw vials lined up with surgical precision, each pod holding a cocktail of life and death. On a desk sat a clipboard, a list. And not just randoms, we're talking global elites. Famous scientists, world leaders, faces he'd only seen on the news. His hands shook uncontrollably as he scanned the document. It was terrifying, sure, but it smelled like a cure. This might be Min Soo's last shot at survival. Then the director walked in. Smooth features, eyes sharp as a hawk. Well, Doc, he purred. Looks like you've figured out our little operation. He smirked, extending a hand. Here's the deal. Save your kid and become part of something monumental. Join the team. You get unlimited resources and Minsu will give him the VIP treatment. Think of it as a partnership. Inside the doctor's head, alarm bells were ringing. Run, his gut screamed. Don't trust this guy. But the image of his suffering son silenced the warning. Tears welled up in his eyes again. He froze, caught between ethics and desperation. In the end, fear won. He bolted, running all the way back home. He burst through the door, shouting for his son. But the silence was heavy. Then he saw it. Minsu battered and weak, trying to end it all. The doctor lunged. He tore the makeshift noose away and crushed his son into a hug, sobbing uncontrollably. Please, Dad. It hurts too much, Minsu whispered. I can't live like this anymore. That was the moment something snapped in the doctor. The internal battle was over. No more watching his boy rot. The very next day, he marched back to that facility and signed his soul away. Deal accepted. No turning back now. The man who once swore an oath to save lives ended up creating a monster. And that monster wore his own son's face. Snap back to the present. Minsu stands in the arena tunnel. The mechanical hum of a camera drone fills the air. Fighter Minsu the drone announced mechanically, "You are cleared to enter." Heavy steel gates groaned open, and Minsu stepped into the light. His face was a mask of ice, zero emotion. Inside the ring, the old man was waiting, locked and loaded. His stance was rock solid. The drone's voice boomed across the stadium. Match start. The old man rank 22 versus Minsu rank 9. Silence fell, then boom. Both fighters launched. Minsu moved with glitch-like speed. He closed the gap instantly. Before the old man could even blink, Minsu's fingers, rigid as knives, were aimed right at him. Thwack. Brutal precision. Minsu's hand pierced the veteran's right shoulder. The old man's eyes went wide. Agony ripped through him. Center stage, Minsu's fingers were buried deep in the older man's flesh. But wait, something felt off. Minsu yanked his hand back, but it didn't budge. His cold mask cracked. Frustration hit. What the hell, he hissed. Is he clamping down with his muscles to trap me? Minsu thought, gritting his teeth. Is this guy even human? The old man, completely unfazed by the stab wound, he let out a calm, icy sigh. His voice didn't even waver. Hey kid, he said, danger dripping from every word. Little too close for comfort, huh? Pro tip, getting cocky early on usually ends in a funeral. The second he shut his mouth, his right arm shot up. Minsu panic stared. He was still anchored to the guy's shoulder. He couldn't pull away. Before Minsu could bail, the old man brought his arm down like a hydraulic press. The speed was absolutely terrifying. A bone-pulverizing haymaker incoming. Minsu's survival instincts screamed absolute murder just as the hammer dropped. He torqued his body, burning every ounce of agility he had. The strike barely kissed him, but the sheer force was so brutal that the concrete floor didn't just crack, it disintegrated. A deafening boom ripped through the air. Shockwaves rattled the whole arena, sending debris flying like shrapnel. Minsu stumbled back, barely keeping his footing. Chest heaving like a bellows, he swatted away, flying rocks, finally wrenching his finger free from the old guy's shoulder. That was way too close. He made it out, but his hands were trembling in the chaotic aftermath. Minsu flashed backward, creating a gap. The whole arena went dead silent. Both fighters reset their stances, sizing each other up. Minsu was gasping for air, sweat dripping down his temples, but his eyes locked on the old man. What is this guy? Is he even human? Where's that freakish strength coming from? His mind was racing. Meanwhile, the old-timer stood like a statue, cold stare fixed on Minsu, not even a single drop of sweat. Suddenly, his voice sliced through the tension. Impressive dagger work. But if that's the game we're playing. His stance shifted, face darkening. Then allow me to demonstrate my version. Up in the VIP lounge, the air was thick. Manager Yang Gu leaned back, eyes glued to the screen. He turned to Kim. Who the hell is this fighter? He's toying with Minsu, a rank 9, like he's some total noob. Kim pushed up his glasses and tapped his tablet. Sir, that's Mr. Park. Former bodyguard, specializes in Krav Maga. Yang Gu's eyebrow twitched. Krav Maga, he muttered. Kim started the lecture. Developed mid-20th century, back when violence against Jewish people was spiking. A Jewish soldier engineered this martial art to keep civilians safe. It mixes practical tech from all over, so it's 100% combat-focused, specifically designed for chaotic close-quarters brawls. Yang Gu frowned. A martial art for protection sounds weak on offense. Not really our vibe. He waved his hand dismissively, but Kim's voice dropped deadly serious. Sir, what if his idea of defense is neutralizing the enemy by ending their life? Cut back to the arena. The tension was at a breaking point. Eye contact locked. The crowd didn't dare breathe. The old man snapped. He surged forward with lightning speed, unleashing his own dagger technique. Rapid-fire strikes aimed right at Minsu's face. But a smirk curled on Minsu's lips. Too slow. He taunted, weaving like a shadow, dodging with zero effort. The old man threw another strike, but Minsu ghosted him again, floating on air. Then boom, surgical strike to the old man's temple. The impact sent his glasses flying, sharp pain jolting through his skull. By the time he could react, Minsu was already out of range, wearing that predator grin. The old man didn't wobble, he just charged again, determined. I just need to grab him. But Minsu muttered to himself, look at that imbalance. Just one massive arm, how's he gonna keep up with my speed? Doesn't matter how much he struggles. Trying to tag me is pointless. The old man realized raw power wasn't landing on Minsu. Time to switch it up. He crouched low, slammed that massive right arm into the floor, and used it like a pivot point, launching himself forward. The burst of speed was so insane it actually caught Minsu off guard. Impact. Minsu got blasted straight into the arena wall. The crash shook the entire building. Concrete cracked like a spiderweb, dust and debris choking the air. But Minsu's inhuman agility was his cheat code. The hit only grazed him, he'd twisted midair to avoid the kill shot by a fraction of an inch. The old man didn't pause. He unleashed a relentless barrage, every hit faster and heavier than the last. Yet Minsu danced through them effortlessly. His movements were so precise, it was straight up disrespectful. Minsu's grin went wide, mocking him. Told ya. Useless. Try harder, Pops. Spotting an opening. Minsu flowed like water through the old man's guard. The counter was brutal. A ruthless shank to the old man's side, making him grimace in agony as blood started to spray. But Minsu wasn't done playing. His eyes flashed with a twisted light. What's wrong, Grandpa? Can't keep up. Let's see how long that roided-out body lasts. The arena turned into a war zone, speed versus brute force. Minsu's offense was non-stop. Surgical cuts kept slicing open the old man's frame. The old guy's raw power was the only thing keeping him vertical. But he was slowing down, his breathing ragged and uneven. The tension in that arena was suffocating, thick enough to choke on. A low buzz of whispers spread through the stands like wildfire. Minho's knuckles turned white. Minsu wasn't moving like a human being. He was moving like a monster. That's a rank 9 for you. But how do you flip a losing game like this? Center stage drenched in blood and battered, the old-timer was still standing tall. Minsu sneered, twisting his face into a sick expression. Still vertical. Looks like you finally ditched that trash dagger technique. The old man gave no reply. His body shaking violently was the only proof of the agony he was in. Yet against all odds, he dragged his arm up. Minsu just threw his head back and laughed. "Aw, what a shame. Putting your guard up now. Gonna try to grapple me like some pathetic amateur wrestler." With a feral roar, Minsu launched himself forward, fingers rigid like spears. "Let's see how your defense handles this," he screamed. Thwack. The strike buried itself deep in the old man's gut, spraying crimson across the floor. He coughed up another mouthful of blood. The crowd gasped in pure horror. But then, plot twist, the old guy raised a shaky fist and slammed it right into his own stomach. Minho's jaw hit the floor. What is he doing? Has he lost his mind? Why beat himself up? But Amanda, sharp as a hawk, leaned in. Look closer. He's not hitting himself. He's aiming for something else. And just as it clicked, a scream ripped from Minsu's throat. Snap. His fingers, his ultimate weapon, were crushed. The old man's counter was surgical, calculated and absolutely brutal. Minsu stumbled back, clutching his mangled hand. That cocky confidence shifted to confusion and pure rage. For the first time, that smug grin was wiped clean off his face. He stared at his wrecked fingers, unable to process it. But before he could even blink, the old-timer was closing the distance, ignoring his own broken body. Look at those eyes. That wasn't just grit. That was main character energy, the kind of action hero tenacity that refuses to die. Right fist cocked back, the old man launched it like a runaway freight train. Boom! Direct hit to Minsu's gut. The whole arena shuddered from the shockwave. Minsu went flying, smashing into the wall with a deafening crash. Tossed like a ragdoll, blood dripped from Minsu's mouth as his brain scrambled to reboot. But the old man, he was running on fumes. He was vibrating uncontrollably. Every single breath was torture. He glanced down at his ruined right arm, dangling there like a broken marionette. That arm's toast, he realized grimly. I've got one shot left. Steadying himself, he forced a fist to form a simple move that felt like lifting a mountain. As the old man charged, his face was a twisted mix of desperation and will. It was straight out of a sports anime, the underdog pouring his soul into the final buzzer beater. But right as he made his move, lights out, vision blurred, a weird numbness washed over him. His legs gave out momentum, dying instantly. Sungu's voice pierced through the haze from the sidelines. Let's go, old man, dig deep, you got this. But the tank was empty. World going dark, knees buckling, yet sheer willpower kept him vertical. It ain't over, he snarled, forcing his eyes open. Too late. Minsu was already in his face, moving with predator precision like a hunter jumping wounded prey. That twisted evil grin on Minsu's face was the total opposite of the old man's fading hope. You snapped my left finger, Minsu hissed, voice dripping with pure. Before the old man could even twitch, Minsu's two-finger strike blitzed his defenses. It burrowed into his chest with zero mercy, pure searing agony like a white-hot blade ripping him wide open. Crimson sprayed from the master's lips as his knees buckled, his system shutting down. His eyes bulged, frozen in a split second of total shock. From the sidelines, Sungwoo screamed his lungs out. "Master, get up, don't you dare quit." But the vibe was already shifting to tragedy. Through the blinding pain, the old man threw out one final desperate flex. He jammed his hand up to catch the blow. Schlick. Minsu's digits tore straight through the palm meat and drilled into the chest. But that split-second block did the job. It acted as a human shield for his heart, barely keeping him tethered to this world. Cute Minsu cackled the sound, dripping with toxicity. "You actually tanked my full power with your bare hand. Too bad it changes absolutely nothing." He didn't pull back, he dug his fingers in deeper. The old man howled. Blood geysered from the wound, his body convulsing like a glitching puppet. As his life bar flashed red, Sungwoo's stomach dropped into the abyss. Minsu, high on his own dominance, pivoted slowly toward the crowd. He flexed his gore-soaked fingers, showing them off like some twisted championship trophy. "Feast your eyes," Sungwoo Minsu roared, his joy absolutely poisonous. "This old geezer is deleting his account because of you." With a sickening jerk, Minsu ripped his fingers free from the old man's chest and hand. The wet tearing sound made the whole arena gag. Red mist sprayed the floor as the master collapsed, face planting into the dirt. Minsu's grin was pure nightmare fuel. Sungwoo stood frozen brain short-circuiting as a core memory unlocked. Flashback, the training dojo. The old man drenched in sweat, chuckling, "Kid, do you come with an off switch? Even I need a timeout." Sungwoo eyes locked on his stance, buzzing with energy. "Come on, hang in there. I've still got a million things to ask." The master's laugh was warm real, the kind that hits you right in the feels. "You're a beast, aren't you?" he grinned. Then his face went soft, voice dropping to a whisper. "Man, if only I had this kind of vibe with my actual son. Maybe things wouldn't be so messed up." Sungwoo stayed quiet, choked up. He gripped Sungwoo's shoulder, his smile shining brighter than any battlefield glory. "Don't sweat it, kid. A dad never ghosts his son. Just like I'm never gonna die and leave my boy behind." Snap. Reality hit like a truck. The illusion shattered. The old man was a heap on the arena floor, broken, pale, unresponsive. His spirit looked completely drained. A dark pool of crimson expanded beneath him while the crowd went dead silent. The only sound was the menacing hum of drones overhead. Center stage, Min Soo-han stood tall, vibing with his own cruelty. A drone hovered down, laser scanning the motionless body. Match concluded, the bot announced coldly. Winner player Min Soo-han. But Minsu wasn't done playing. He slammed his boot onto the old man's face, grinding it into the dirt with pure disrespect. His laugh cut through the silence like a knife. Minsu looked up and croaked. "Just as I thought. This place is a riot." That did it. Sungwoo's sanity snapped. Adrenaline spiked, and he vaulted straight over the railing. A figure launched from the spectator zone. It was Sungwoo. The fire in his eyes wasn't just anger anymore. It was literal hellfire. In midair, he looked like a human meteor, and his landing sucked the oxygen right out of the room. Behind him, Minho yelled, "Sungwoo, stop, don't uselessly." Minsu, still stepping on the master's face, spotted his new prey. His grin stretched, impossibly wide. Finally, Minsu sneered, "Bring it on, Sungwoo." Sungwoo stood in the arena, radiating murder. Minsu didn't move an inch, his boot still planted on the fallen master. Sungwoo's voice thundered, "Get your filthy foot off him, or you're dead." Minsu just chuckled darkly. "Aw, worried about your sensei. If you've got the guts, come over here and make me move." The challenge was thrown, and Sungwoo's rage boiled over. That terrifying red aura, the same demon energy from the Kai fight, started leaking out of him. Sungwoo coiled to strike, but a security drone swooped in, guns locking on. Its mechanical voice warned, "Unauthorized combat will result in immediate termination." Sungwoo didn't even blink. He clenched his fists and roared. "I said get off him." Then he blasted forward like a rocket. Minsu watched him come, smiling like a wolf about to eat. Minsu smirked, bracing for impact. "Come on then, show me what you're actually made of." Meanwhile, Minho vaulted into the arena, screaming for Sungwoo to chill out. But before he could even close the gap, a shadow tore past him like a blur. Minho's brain scrambled. Who the hell moves like that? It was Menon. In a heartbeat. Menon was already on Sungwoo, backpack style, locking in a sleeper hold tight enough to crush steel. "What are you doing, you moron?" Menon hissed, his voice frantic. "If I taught you how to headbutt, you better, at least use it right before you get yourself killed." But Sungwoo was gone, totally consumed by the red mist. Logic offline, screaming, "Let me go." Menon just cranked the choke tighter. That's when Minho slid in, sweeping Sungwoo's legs and slamming him face first into the concrete with a heavy thud. Menon went full python on the choke while Minho grappling hooked Sungwoo's ankles, pinning him down. Sungwoo thrashed like a wild animal, but the double team was too heavy. He was stuck. From the sidelines, Minsu watched the chaos, amused to see Sungwoo brawling with his own squad. Menon leaned in, whispering into Sungwoo's ear, "Go to sleep, kid. You're useless to anyone like this." Slowly the fight began to drain out of him. His breathing hitched. Vision went fuzzy. Lights out. The last thing he saw was Minsu. foot still planted on the old master's face, cackling like a maniac. As Sung Woo faded to black memory, Lane hit him hard. Flashback, post-training exhaustion. The old man, wiping sweat, dropped his voice. By the way, if I go down, you'll look out for my son, right? Sung Woo draped a towel over his neck, confused. Sure, but why the dark talk all of a sudden? The master hesitated, taking a deep breath. I just need to know someone will stop him from going down a dark path. But Sung Woo cut him off, classic style. Isn't it obvious? Obvious, how the old man asked. Sung Woo shrugged, drying his face with the towel. I've still got a ton to learn from you. Gotta buddy up with your kid if I want to keep stealing your moves right. He grinned and tossed the towel aside. Don't tell me school's out already? The old man blinked, then let out a rare, genuine chuckle. Is that right? He said softly. Then, with a playful smirk, he messed up Sung Woo's hair and said, planning to use me even from the grave, huh? Snap. The memory shattered. Back to the nightmare. The old master lay on the concrete, battered and lifeless. Min Soo's boot was still grinding into his face. Across the arena, Sung Woo was out cold, pinned by Menon and Min Ho, who were gasping for air on the floor. That was way too close. Min Ho wheezed, trying to catch his breath. Min Soo scanned the scene, a sneer curling his lip, and let out a low, toxic laugh. What a waste of potential. But before he could finish, a sharp voice cut through the noise. Amanda stepped into the ring, eyes locking onto Min Soo like a target designator. You got Sung Woo's attention, she said coldly. You happy now, or are you gonna stand there begging for more validation? Min Soo's face turned to stone. He glared at her eyes. Dead. You want me to end you right now? Amanda didn't even blink. She pointed up at the buzzing, hovering drone. Try it. But the second you touch me, that guy drone is gonna vaporize you on the spot. Her eyes darkened, shifting into full killer mode. Or I'll handle it myself. Min Soo just laughed at the threat. Slowly, deliberately, he lifted his boot off the old man's face. He turned his back, but tossed one last venomous look at Amanda over his shoulder. Whatever. I'm gonna kill all of you eventually anyway. With that, he strutted out of the arena, footsteps echoing in the silence. Amanda rushed to the master, immediately dropping to her knees to check his vitals. A tense second passed. Then a sigh of relief. He's breathing. The old man made it. She signaled frantically to the medical crew. Get over here, Stat. We need a stretcher. As the medics scrambled in, Amanda's eyes drifted to the old man's mangled left hand. It clicked. That hand, she whispered. It saved his life. Her mind replayed the tape. The old man had sacrificed his left hand to block Min Soo's lethal finger dagger technique. Right at the critical moment. It was precise, calculated, a literal lifesaver. If he hadn't made that block, he wouldn't just be injured, he'd be a corpse. The medical team carefully loaded the master onto the gurney and rushed him toward the exit. Amanda stood there, watching the silhouette disappear. The camera cuts to the VIP lounge, zooming in on manager Yang Gu. He's practically vibrating, teeth ground together in pure adrenaline. Min Soo Han's voice drops to a heavy rumble. That kid, he is a straight-up glitch in the Matrix, a total monster. He glances at Kim, gesturing wildly. Did you see that? He uses his bare fingers like they're shanks. Kim pushes his glasses up his nose, breaking it down for the manager. See, Min Soo is running on a whole different kind of juice. Most strength buffs just pump up the glamour muscles, making you look swole. Basically, you get bigger biceps, but that is it. Min Soo is different. The stuff he is on mutated the tissue wrapping his bones. His tendons, ligaments, and fascia are all evolved way past human limits. Functionally, he is scarier than Sung Woo and his reinforced skeleton. Manager Yang Gu's eyes narrow into slits. Then why aren't we signing him immediately? We need that asset. Kim shuts him down with a headshake. Min Soo is the director's personal pet project. He is off limits. You can't just walk up and recruit him. Hearing that, Yang Gu looks visibly salty, but Kim switches gears instantly. Don't sweat it. The roster is stacked with beasts, especially the one stepping up for the next bout. Yang Gu leans back, curiosity piqued. Next bout? You mean the girl, the one doing… What is it? Capoeira. Kim nods. Yep, she is on deck. Yang Gu scoffs, rolling his eyes. Capoeira? Isn't that just glorified breakdancing, useless in a real scrap? Kim's gaze drifts, locking onto the window with a cold look. Capoeira isn't a dance, he says flatly. Back when Portugal colonized Brazil, they dragged African slaves over for hard labor. Those slaves needed a way to fight back, to survive the brutality. But they had to train right under the master's noses, so they masked their combat training with rhythm, tricking the overseers into thinking it was a cultural dance. It looks like a party, but it is a martial art forged in blood and agony. Zero joy involved. He adjusts his frames again. After Brazil won independence, the criminal underworld adopted it because it was so lethal. The government literally had to ban it. That is why capoeira isn't just flashy. It is dangerously effective. Cut back to the arena. Amanda stands ready. Her rank number 19 flickers above her head. Her style capoeira sets her apart. A drone hovers menacingly nearby. The drone's robotic voice booms through the stadium. All fighters enter the ring. Prepare for the next round. Amanda locks onto her target. She doesn't even turn her head. She just downloads his data with a glance. Hyuk-soo, rank 10. He struts in like he owns the place. His base is MMA, lethal, precise, dangerous. Amanda doesn't blink. She is ice cold. The drone drops the beat. The match between Amanda and Hyuk-soo starts now. Amanda snaps into her stance instantly. Every muscle screams determination. Meanwhile, her opponent is a statue, totally still, face blank, not moving an inch. Amanda narrows her eyes, thinking, oh, so he thinks I'm a joke. Fine. She launches a flawless crane kick, body twisting like liquid, acrobatic and graceful. She mutters, shattering the silence. If you're gonna nap standing up, I'll make the first move. But the second, her foot flies toward Hyuk-soo, his vibe shifts. A twisted grin splits his face, and a dark demonic chuckle bubbles out of his throat. Up in the VIP suite, manager Yang Gu is watching the screen jaw on the floor. Who the hell uses capoeira like that? He yells. He spins to his tablet, scrolling through Hyuk-soo's stats. If he is rank 10, he has got to be cracked. Kim, nudging his glasses, speaks with chilling calm. Hyuk-soo is an MMA specialist. He was mid-tier before, but after taking the sensory doping, his kinetic vision got a god-tier upgrade. Yang Gu tilts his head. Kinetic vision, Kim nods. Yeah, he sees movement in slow motion. That is why his bounty skyrocketed overnight. The VIPs gave him a nickname. The 10 seconds. Yang Gu raises an eyebrow. The 10 seconds. What kind of weird tag is that? Kim fixes his glasses again. Because he sleeps everyone in under 10 seconds. Not a single fight has gone longer. Manager Yang Gu lets out a disbelief laugh, practically drooling over the potential. Insane. If he is that broken, we need to poach him for our squad. Kim's face goes stone, serious. If he maintains his streak this round, he rockets straight to rank 5 or higher. Back to the ring. The clock is ticking down. Hyuk-soo stands frozen, watching Amanda's kick incoming. That evil smile stretches wider. He is thinking. Even the top-tier fighters. Look at that wide-open stance. Amateur hour. They always take the bait, but my dynamic vision catches every single pixel. Split-second reaction. Hyuk-soo weaves past Amanda's lethal kick. A nasty, arrogant smirk plasters across his mug. Snatch. He locks onto her ankle with an ironclad grip. A dark chuckle escapes him. Game over, sweetheart. But before the gloat can even settle, his vision glitches. Reality flips 180, literally. Hyuk-soo's eyes bug out. Wait, is that the ceiling or the floor? Before his brain can reboot. WHAM. His face kisses the concrete with bone-shattering force. The raw kinetic energy and momentum of Amanda's kick flipped the script instantly. Through a mouthful of dirt, he groans. I lost. Within 10 seconds, Amanda retracts her heel, leaving his battered face in the dust. The entire arena freezes, plunged into a dead silence. She just did the impossible. She humbled the guy calling himself 10 seconds at his own game, and she did it in under single digits. A referee drone buzzes in, scans Hyuk-soo's unconscious body, and Blair's match concluded. Winner Amanda. Amanda stares down ice in her veins. Some techniques exist outside the range of your fancy enhanced senses. Total domination. Amanda takes the round. Meanwhile, up in the VIP suite, manager Young Woo practically launches out of his seat. What the hell? How Kim doesn't blink, eyes glued to the monitor. Hyuk-soo thought dodging was his golden ticket. His mistake, he couldn't tell the difference between a feint and raw power. Young Woo shakes his head, mind blown. But dodging a strike mid-air like that, it defies physics. Kim breaks it down. Usually for a kick to possess knockout power, you gotta coil that energy on the opposite side before impact, then snap it forward. If you whiff that first strike, there's zero time to reload the kinetic energy. You're vulnerable, open to a counter, and the kick loses all its juice. It's even worse when you're airborne, because you have no anchor point to generate torque. Young Woo frowns. Wait, wasn't Amanda in that exact spot? She was floating, zero ground contact, and she whiffed the first hit. Kim nods. Spot on. That's exactly why Hyuk-soo got cocky. But he forgot who he was dealing with. In capoeira, your hands become your feet. Plus, Amanda's power doping isn't about bulk. It exponentially increases muscle density. Basically, she packs a nuclear punch without the sluggish movement of giant muscles. Right now, she's a living weapon. She can detonate max power from literally any angle, making her totally unpredictable. Cut to the infirmary. Sung-woo is lying there, slowly booting up, and Minho's face comes into focus. Sung-woo jolts upright. What went down? He gasps, panic setting in. He scans the room, locking eyes with Minho. Why am I in here? And wait, his face twists with worry. Is the old man okay? Just then, Amanda strides in. He's alive. Felt him breathing when we hauled him out. Sung-woo lets out a massive sigh, tension leaving his body. Amanda turns to Minho. Yo Minho, you're up next. Better get warm. Minho's vibe shifts instantly. The temperature drops, and his eyes go dark. I know, he says, voice steady. I'll be ready. This next guy. He's the whole reason I'm in this hellhole. Flashback trigger. Memory lane. A shady guy hands him a fight card. I'll serve your brother's killer on a silver platter, right in front of you. Minho snaps back, furious. You said you didn't even have a name, so how you gonna ID him? The broker grins a creepy, twisted smile. One thing's for sure, he entered the fighting pavilion, and he's a pro boxer. Minho freezes. The guy chuckles, adding, I'll drop more intel later, but pro boxers in the pavilion, that's a short list. Snap back to reality. Arena center stage. A bald dude stands there, calm but radiating death. Meet Wanwu Choi, rank 16, style pure, ruthless boxing. Minho's target acquired. He steps into the kill box, scanning the crowd before locking his gaze on the only thing that matters, his opponent, rank 28. But he isn't here to climb the ladder or chase clout. This is personal. His weapon of choice, boxing, but not the sport kind. This is a lethal style honed to absolute perfection. Minho drops into a combat stance, his voice slicing through the heavy air. Does the name Kim Min-seung ring a bell? Opposite him stands Wanwu, rank 16, a veteran striker who just tilts his head and flashes a lazy grin. How could I ever forget? The arrogance drips off his tongue, hearing that Minho's mask of calm instantly shatters. His eyes go wide, veins pop across his skin, teeth grind together. His heart isn't just beating, it's thundering like a war drum. I put my life on the line just to find you, he growls, his pulse going supersonic. Boom! A neon blue aura flares from his chest. Before Wanwu can even blink, Minho ghosts him. Gone. Wanwu's eyes dart around, totally lost. His brain can't process what just happened. And then, Minho materializes right in his face. His fist is a literal bullet. Wham! A vicious hook snaps Wanwu's head back. He stumbles, reeling from the impact. But Minho has zero chill. He's not giving him a single second to reboot. Wanwu is shook by the raw speed. Suddenly, a sledgehammer blow buries itself deep in his gut. Blood sprays from Wanwu's mouth. The sheer force of the impact folds him like a lawn chair. But Minho isn't done yet. His eyes are burning with savage intensity like a predator, ready to feast on its prey. Wanwu is still mid-air when Minho launches another haymaker straight to his grill. Wanwu does a double backflip from the force and slams into the concrete wall with a sickening crunch. Spiderweb cracks, fracture the wall. Minho stomps forward, radiating pure rage. Why did you kill my brother? His voice shakes the entire arena. Wanwu is slumped against the wall, gasping for air. But then he looks up with terrifying calm. All right, that's enough, he says, taking a deep breath. Minho freezes. The hell is going on, he mutters, knuckles white. Wanwu, still pinned to the wall, starts grinning. Flash. A matching blue aura erupts from Wanwu's chest, mirroring Minho's power. I let you beat on me, because I needed to spike my adrenaline to trigger the doping effect. He chuckles. In a split second, Wanwu is back on his feet. He's moving like glitchy video game footage, too fast, too fluid. Minho throws up his guard, mind racing. How did this guy bounce back like nothing happened? Wanwu wears a psycho grin. Now the real fun begins. Since we're both riding the same speed-boosting dope, let's see who's the alpha. Minho cocks his fist, but just as he swings, whoosh, Wanwu vanishes into thin air exactly like Minho did earlier. In the blink of an eye, he teleports right next to Minho. Counterattack locked and loaded. Wanwu's fist connects, dead center on Minho's jaw. But at the last millisecond, Minho burns his own speed boost to phase out. He creates distance, barely escaping the kill zone. Minho wipes a streak of crimson from his lip and stares down his enemy. The rage is still there, but now he's being careful. This brawl isn't over. We're just getting started. And now it is. Wanwu's turn to lead the dance. And he isn't handing out any participation trophies. He shifts into overdrive, matching Minho's tempo perfectly. Boom. He's right in Minho's personal space, smiling like a wolf looking at a sheep. Going somewhere, his voice drips with menace. For the first time, doubt creeps into Minho's gut. His eyes widen. He thinks I'm running at max speed, but I can't find a single opening. He scrambles for a plan, but his nightmare comes true. Wanwu hits the turbo button. Minho is totally outclassed. Wanwu taunts him, just like I thought. There's levels to this game, kid. Before Minho's synapses can even fire, a devastating right cross smashes into his face. The impact scrambles Minho's brain instantly. Blood sprays out in a gruesome mist. Wanwu presses the advantage. Eat this. A full throttle punch connects with a sickening crunch. Then another brutal blow. The sheer kinetic energy shakes the whole arena. Minho's body drops like a stone. He skids across the floor to a halt. Blood pools from his lips as he lies there, broken and sprawled out. Wanwu stands tall over his kill. His eyes gleam with victory, a twisted maniacal laugh escaping his throat. His voice echoed across the arena, dripping with mockery. Told you so, didn't I? Wanwu sneered. Relying on speed buffs is always a gamble, bro. And clearly, my velocity is in a whole different zip code than yours. Wanwu's laughter grew louder, pure arrogance radiating from his face like a heat wave. He loomed over Minho's battered frame. Do yourself a favor and stay down, he teased. Keep twitching, and that drone won't call the match. And if that happens... Wanwu's grin widened maniacally as he raised his boot. I'll have to end you personally. Right as Wonu wound up for the curb stomp, Minho's mind snapped into a desperate flashback. He saw his brother, Kim Min-song, delivering the words that forged his warrior spirit. When you think it's game over, Minho, just take one last deep breath. Center yourself. That single breath is the fuel you need to rise again. Snap back to reality. He replayed the mantra. One last breath. He inhaled deeply. As the oxygen hit, his heart hammered against his ribs like a war drum. The stimulant surged through his veins, overclocking his system. His stats maxed out, strength and speed hitting the absolute limit. Wanu's foot smashed down, but hit empty air. Minho glitched out of existence. Moving so fast, Wanu's eyes couldn't even track the blur. Minho Wanu spun around, losing his cool eyes, darting frantically. Where? Minho. He'd finally forced the opening he desperately needed. Minho was already crouched low to the ground, dropping into that iconic stance, muscles coiled like titanium springs, fists vibrating with pure determination. Wanu glared, gritting his teeth in rage. This wasn't just a match anymore. It was payback for every sacrifice he made to get here. Minho didn't hesitate. He launched himself like a rocket. He was a blur of unstoppable motion. The force of his leap literally shattered the sound barrier, turning him into a human missile locked on Wanu. At Mach speed, dodging isn't an option. Wanu couldn't even get his guard up before Minho's fist connected with his chest with brutal precision. The impact was so heavy, Wanu staggered backward, but Minho wasn't done. Closing the gap instantly, he screamed, "Why did you kill my brother? What was his mistake?" Wanu scoffed, so the rumors were real. Kim Min-song actually kicked the bucket. Hearing that, Minho froze. Total shock. Suddenly, a mechanical hum filled the air. Eyes up, the drone announced. Wanu is incapacitated. Winner Minho. Minho stood there, heaving deep breaths, knuckles still white, but inside, it was a weird mix. Disbelief and total hollowness. Right then, notifications in the VIP lounge went nuclear pings nonstop, signaling Minho's betting odds were skyrocketing. Behind the tinted glass of the VIP suites, the elites exchanged looks whispering, "This Kim Minho kid, he is legit." One spectator studied Minho's profile intensely. Cut to the director's office. He had been glued to the screen watching the fight with laser focus. Turning to his aide, he dropped the bomb. That was Minho's second activation, and zero chemical assistance. The doctor nodded grimly. "Yes, sir. It looks like the experiment is finally paying off. It's not on the level of Subject 1 from 20 years ago, but success rates just hit 80%. The director crossed his arms deep in thought. Even with the first subject gone, his genes left a hell of a legacy. Topping that is going to be a nightmare. A beat of silence, then a mutter to himself. If only that man hadn't vanished, we could have achieved God-tier results. Where did he even go in the end? Smash cut to Sungwoo's training dojo. He was grinding, practicing. The cosmic technique the old man taught him. Spamming kicks against the wall. Harder every time. Sungwoo was drenched in sweat, grinding his teeth through the fatigue. Just a little more. Gotta push past the limit. Suddenly, Menon's voice pierced the air from behind. Menon drilled a hole through him with that stare, asking, "You planning to burn out before the real brawl even starts?" Sungwoo's eyelids. "We're fighting a losing battle against gravity," but he fired back. "If I'm gonna throw hands with the beasts in this hellhole, I gotta redline my stats." Suddenly, the old master's words echoed inside his skull like a mantra. "Push your physical shell until it literally cracks. When you bounce back, you'll be exponentially deadlier. But listen close, kid. Sleep is the ultimate recovery hack." The old man had dropped the blueprint. Split your 24 hours in two. Grind until you collapse, then black out like your life depends on it. Run this cycle twice a day, and you'll speedrun your power leveling at double the pace. Then he pointed a finger straight at Sungwoo, dropping the harsh truth. "This grind only pays off if your stamina is god tier. You ready to lock in?" Sungwoo snapped out of his head. He glanced down, reaching for the massive weighted cuffs shackling his ankles, and unlatched them. Boom. The moment they hit the deck, the concrete cracked. We're talking insane poundage here. The whole vibe was straight up Rock Lee versus Gaara from Naruto. Menon leaned back against the wall, smirking. "I said prep for death, not actually unalive yourself, kid." Sungwoo stayed silent. He just slid into the cryopod, the lid sealing shut with a hiss. As he drifted into the void, one thought looped in his mind. Round 3. Just like the old man said, stamina is king. Gotta trust the process. Outside the pod, Menon eyed the discarded weights and chuckled. Grinding to total failure 3 times a day, then crash sleeping to level up, kids going hardcore mode. A second later, that grin twisted into something wicked. Hey, if it works, it works. But watching this play out is going to be pure entertainment. Right then, a drone hovered over, buzzing with a robo-voice. Combatant Menon proceed to the main arena immediately. The light in Menon's eyes flared up. That sinister glint morphed into pure hype. Finally, time to feast on some tasty opponents. He trailed the drone down the corridor, footsteps echoing like a countdown. Cut to the arena. Bungang was already waiting. He was ranked number 15, and flexing raw power hanging off the arena wall, with just one hand, body suspended, in a perfect sitting pose against gravity. Crazy core control. Up in the observation deck, manager Yang Wu and Kim watched the monitor. Yang Wu leaned back, cool as ice. Bungang. Isn't that one of your top 5 picks? Kim nodded. Yes, sir. The doping gave him a massive power spike. His grip strength is S tier. Once he latches onto someone, he crushes their bones like twigs. Most fighters mentally check out after just one grab. Then, Kim pushed up his glasses, the lenses flashing. But that's not the scary part. His real weapon is his elite judo, amped up by that brute force. It doesn't matter how juiced the enemy is, if he slams them, it's game over. Bones snap match ends. Manager Yang Wu narrowed his eyes. What about Menon? Looking at his rank, he's basically fodder, right Kim? Paused, scrolling through his tablet. Zero data on Menon, he muttered, sounding confused. Zero data. Yang Wu's voice sharpened like a knife. Kim frowned. Looks like a direct recruit from the combat ward. His background? Fighting style. Even his doping levels, it's all a black box. He adjusted his glasses again, face dead serious this time. I haven't seen a single frame of his footage. Guy's a total ghost. Back in the pit, Bungang stood center stage, his crimson eyes glowing like embers. His stance screamed one thing: he wasn't here to play. He was here to conquer. A drone hovered between them. The match between Menon and Bungang begins. Now. Instantly, Bungang locked in. Let's wrap this up fast. No point wasting time. But before the words even landed, Menon closed the gap with electric speed, catching Bungang completely lacking. Couldn't agree more. Bungang's eyes widened in shock. Before he could react, Menon vanished, glitching out of sight only to respawn right behind him with a creepy grin. The back of your head looks delicious, he whispered, launching a blindside attack. Bungang barely swerved in time. He snatched Menon's arm and with monster judo mechanics hoisted him into the air. Menon just smirked. Damn, you got some serious moves. Bungang didn't hesitate. He slammed Menon into the concrete with everything he had. The impact shattered the arena floor, sending shockwaves, rippling through the stadium. The whole building shook. Menon lay in the crater, barely breathing, while Bungang towered over him. His aura paralyzed the crowd. That counterattack left everyone shook. In the VIP lounge, manager Yang Wu leaned forward. What just happened? Is Menon stuck in the floor, or is he wasted? For the first time, even Kim looked rattled. His poker face cracked into confusion. I knew. Bungang was strong, but I didn't think he'd speedrun the kill like that. His eyes were glued to the scene. Down in the pit, a drone swooped in, scanning both fighters. A beat later, the mech voice made the call. Player Bungang is down for the count. It's over. Menon takes the win. The entire arena gasps in unison. 1 second, Bungang is standing there like a statue. The next, he flatlines, hitting the deck cold. The announcement hits the crowd like a bomb. But Menon, he's the real nightmare fuel here. Dude is still sprawled on the floor, casually licking his own elbow again. That signature move is straight up disturbing. Manager Yang Wu is completely floored. What just went down? Bungang was owning that fight. How did he get wiped out? Kim looks just as shook. He runs a hand through his hair. Totally lost. I got nothing, he admits. Never seen anything like this before. It doesn't make sense. Menon isn't moving though. He just starts laughing, and it echoes like some twisted symphony. A chaotic glint sparks in his eyes. He thinks, looks like it's high time for Sung Woo to rise and shine. He kicks back, hands behind his head, wondering, will he come out cooked to perfection, or just a burnt mess? The thought makes him cackle even harder. Cut to Sung Woo's recovery pod. Hiss. The hatch slides open smoothly. A hand shoots out, clenching tight. Sung Woo starts to sit up, his breathing steady and controlled. He frowns, sensing a shift. Something feels different. Did that triple session recovery actually do the trick? He pulls himself up in the pod, laser focused on one thing. Success or failure, it doesn't matter. I have to crush my next opponent whatever the cost. But as his mind starts to wander, a shadow falls over his face. Flashbacks of his mom's photos hit him. He squeezes his fists until his knuckles turn white. Mom, please be okay. But can I really trust that girl who showed up earlier? His gaze turns icy. I need answers. Dr. Kim dragged me into this mess. I need to have a little chat with him. Just as he steels himself, a drone buzzes into the room, its mechanical hum slicing through the silence. The drone announces loudly, "You have been summoned by a scout." Sung Woo blinks, caught off guard. Moments later, he's blindfolded, standard procedure to keep the location top secret. When they finally stop, a voice cuts in. "You may remove the blindfold now." Sung Woo rips it off and locks eyes instantly with Kim. Recognition hits and pure rage boils over. Zero hesitation, Sung Woo lunges forward and chokes him up against the wall. "You betrayed me," Sung Woo roars, voice shaking with fury. Kim doesn't even flinch. He places a hand on Sung Woo's shoulder, steady as a rock. "Chill out. You kill me here. You get nothing." Sung Woo grinds his teeth, but the logic lands. His hand stays on Kim's throat, mind racing like a storm. You better give me the truth, he hisses, because I am way past the breaking point. Do you know where my parents are? Kim lowers his voice, almost mocking him. You still don't get it, do you? I thought it was obvious. Sungwoo freezes confused. What are you talking about? He demands. Kim narrows his eyes, a faint smirk playing on his lips. I'm the one handling them. That triggers Sungwoo all over again. Don't lie to me, he screams. I know someone else is watching over my parents in the recovery ward. Kim's expression shifts, he's calculating. So it's true, he mutters. A VIP came to visit you, huh? Interesting. He locks eyes with Sungwoo again. Let's get one thing straight. I am looking after your parents. But yeah, I lied about them missing, had to make sure you stayed focused. Sungwoo feels the room spin. What kind of garbage are you spewing? He grits out the words through clenched teeth. Kim calmly peels Sungwoo's hand off his neck and smooths out his jacket like nothing happened. Listen closely, he says. I've bet everything on you. Drugged up or not, the boss has to believe me. So don't screw this up. He adjusts his collar, staring Sungwoo down. The story about your parents vanishing is all over the fight pavilion. But do you seriously think my agent set that up? Sungwoo stands there totally lost, trapped between lies and reality. Kim spreads his hands wide, like he's about to drop a truth bomb. Use your head, Sungwoo. The second that rumor started spreading, about your parents being in the recovery ward, Yun showed up. You think that's a coincidence? And let me guess, she claimed she was the one taking care of them, right? Kim looks down his face, turning stone cold. There's zero truth to that. If there were, the chairman would have pulled his own 2 kids out of the business by now. Sungwoo's eyes burn with intensity. I'm not an idiot, he snaps. You're trying to play me too. That girl knew about my parents. Kim doesn't blink. Okay, so where's the proof? What evidence did she actually give you? Sungwoo slumps helpless. She didn't show me anything. But what have you got? Kim slowly rolls up his sleeve, extending his forearm. Sungwoo's eyes go wide, scrawled right there on Kim's arm. Son, don't worry about me. Mom is okay. Sungwoo stops breathing. That's her handwriting. He stands there shell-shocked. Is this a hallucination? Kim's voice slices through the noise. Check the timestamp, kid. Legit right. You want to know who was hanging with your mom today? Believe me or don't, but you better listen to the plan. Kim locks eyes with him, intense and terrifying. You gotta dominate this next bout. We need the VIPs drooling over you again. Your opponent, he's their golden boy. Crush him in Yangwoo and the VIPs have no choice but to back you. Secure the W this time, and every single headache, including your parents' mess, vanishes. Sungwoo grinds his teeth, drowning in frustration and doubt. Who's the target, he asks. Kim doesn't hesitate. Ryu Ichika, rank 15. The almost unanimous VIP favorite. Kim adjusts his glasses. Get your head in the game. This isn't going to be a walk in the park. As Sungwoo steps into the tunnel, Kim's words loop in his brain. Beat this guy, and the chairman has zero choice but to pick you. We just need a ticket to the finals. And your family drama, consider it deleted. Sungwoo clenches his fists tight. Damn it, my head is spinning. Who's capping, who's being real, no clue, but one thing is crystal clear. If I don't flatline this guy, it's game over. In the arena, Ryu Ichika stands like a statue, calm but ticking like a time bomb. His style, Kudo, famous for brutal efficiency and absolute destruction. Meanwhile, in the VIP suite, manager Yang Wu lounges like a king, smirking with pure arrogance. Like he's already read the script. If Sungwoo chokes this round, seeing Zhang's face crumble will be priceless, he chuckles. Cut to the other VIP box. Zhang's eyes are glued to the fight. A subtle grin plays on her lips. Let's see who gets the last laugh, she whispers. I've been waiting for this moment. Back in the cage, Ryu drops into his fight stance. Ice cold. The dude radiates confidence. Sungwoo mirrors him, his focus laser sharp. Offensive stance, I'll open with a calf kick. Sungwoo checks his body, he feels explosive today. Fire burns in his eyes. Zero hesitation, Sungwoo launches himself at Ryu like a lightning bolt. He throws a heavy low kick to sweep Ryu off balance, but Ryu is ready. He lifts his leg effortlessly, dodging with surgical precision. While Sungwoo is still recovering, Ryu snaps back with a same-leg counter, massive power aiming straight for Sungwoo's ribs. Sungwoo's instincts scream, if I dodge, I can counter, but before he can even twitch, Ryu latches onto him. Flash movement, hand on shoulder, hand on leg, boom. He slams him into the mat. The floor literally cracks from the force. Blood sprays from Sungwoo's mouth. A raw display of Ryu's monster strength. Fighting through the agony, Sungwoo thinks, this guy is a beast. But Ryu isn't done. Coldly, he cocks his fist for a finisher, aiming right for the gut. Sungwoo scrapes up every ounce of energy, scrambling with hands and feet, and barely rolls out of the kill zone. A narrow escape. Up in the VIP box, Yangwoo leans forward, intrigued. Wait, he's a striker, right? What was that grapple? Beside him, Kim stays cool. Adjusting his glasses, he says, Ryu has zero restrictions. He's mastered Kyokushin karate. Kyokushin doesn't just teach punching. They drill takedowns and joint locks until it's instinct. And it gets worse. Headbutts, groin shots, everything is on the menu. Ringside, Ryu resets. But he's spooked as he looks at Sungwoo. Why isn't this kid terrified? Ryu wonders. No time to think, Sungwoo charges again, throwing a supersonic jab. The fist buzzes inches from Ryu's nose, but Ryu ducks with god-tier reflexes. A near miss. Seeing an opening, Ryu pulls back and unleashes a savage body blow. Straight into the stomach. The impact is sickening. The crowd actually flinches. Sungwoo coughs up a fountain of blood and crashes into the concrete. Behind the glass, manager Yang Woo is having a field day. Called it. High school kid is toast, he sneers. Ryu stares down at his prey, but something's off. Even after eating that death blow, Sungwoo is laughing. That twisted grin chilled Ryo to the bone. Why the hell is he laughing? Ryo's thoughts raced. Sungwoo slowly rose to his feet. His eyes burned with feral insanity. Let's see how long that grin lasts, Ryo roared, launching a devastating kick. But Sungwoo latched onto Ryo's waist, locking his hands in a death grip. Ryo scoffed. You think hugging me is gonna save you? A savage glint flashed in Sungwoo's eyes before he clamped his teeth onto Ryo's leg like a rabid beast. You psycho. Ryo screamed, his composure shattering. Desperate, he drove a brutal knee into Sungwoo's gut, forcing him to stagger back. Ryo didn't wait, he coiled his arm, prepping a lethal elbow strike to end it. But Sungwoo's voice cut through the air. What was that? An animal? Madness danced in Sungwoo's gaze. You're damn right. I am a rabid animal. For a split second, Ryo froze. That sheer intensity rattled him. Shaking it off, Ryo whipped his leg around, slamming a heavy kick into Sungwoo's skull. Sungwoo hit the deck hard, but that nightmare smile never left his face. Ryo glanced down at his leg, now dripping blood from the bite mark. This kid is a total monster, Ryo thought, disgusted yet grudgingly impressed. Sungwoo slowly hauled himself up, that terrifying grin still plastered on his face, eyes locked on Ryo. Up in the VIP booth, manager Yanggu shot out of his seat, a mix of shock and rage painting his features. What the hell is going on down there? Kim shook his head, his expression grim. I forgot to tell you. Sungwoo doesn't play by arena rules. Back in the ring, Sungwoo charged, determination blazing in his eyes. Ryo clenched his fists. Going for the same cheap trick, huh? Not on my watch. But this time, Sungwoo dropped low at the last second, diving for Ryo's legs. Ryo's alarms went off instantly. Oh no, another bite incoming. Ryo pulled back, winding up to smash Sungwoo. Thought you could pull that twice, he sneered. But Sungwoo was already one step ahead. Instead of snapping his jaws, he unleashed Amanda's signature capoeira move, whipping his foot toward Ryo's head. With a devastating kick, manager Yanggu stood frozen, his jaw practically hitting the floor. Exploiting Ryo's momentary confusion, Sungwoo shifted his weight instantly and swung his leg upward with terrifying velocity. Ryo was too focused on Sungwoo's body feint to see it coming. He had zero chance to react. The heel connected squarely with his face, the sickening crunch echoing through the entire arena. In the VIP box, manager Yanggu's eyes bugged out in disbelief. He slammed his fist on the table, screaming, "How is this even possible? That's capoeira style. Where did a punk like him pick that up?" Suddenly the scene cuts to a memory. In a quiet training dojo, Sungwoo and Amanda stand together. Sungwoo looks hyped, bubbling with curiosity, as he asks Amanda about the deadliest move in her arsenal. Then, with a cheeky grin, he points to himself. Show me. Come on, hit me with your best shot. Amanda's face goes stone cold. An icy chill fills her eyes. Her voice is calm but dangerous. You think you can just tank anything? Or are you treating capoeira like a joke? Sungwoo frantically shakes his head, realizing he messed up. But before he can get a word out, Amanda snaps into motion. Her kick is so fast it's barely a blur, slamming cleanly into the side of Sungwoo's head. The force is massive, sending him crashing to the mat, completely seeing stars. Amanda stands over him, arms crossed, her gaze sharp as a blade. You took the hit, she says. So now you can copy it right. But remember, don't push past your limits. Just give it everything you've got, Sungwoo. His head is still spinning, but he forces a smile. Through the pain. Thanks, Amanda. The flashback dissolves, snapping back to the brutal reality of the arena. Sungwoo's capoeira-inspired kick smashes into Ryo's face. The impact is catastrophic, rocking Ryo to his core. He wobbles, his ironclad confidence shattering for a brief moment. But Ryo isn't a quitter. Gritting his teeth, he finds his footing and snatches Sungwoo's leg. In a vice-like grip. Sungwoo remains inverted. In a handstand, muscles coiled like springs, waiting for the counter. Ryo cocks his leg back, aiming a devastating stomp straight for Sungwoo's face. Meanwhile, up in the VIP booth, manager Yanggu is practically vibrating with excitement. On the edge of his seat, a twisted smile creeps across his face. This is the bloodbath he paid for. But Sungwoo isn't done yet. Using pure upper body strength, he launches his torso into the air. It's a move that defies physics, his agility, leaving the entire crowd gasping in shock. Ryo is still clutching Sungwoo's leg, but his brain just short-circuits. He stares, eyes frozen in total disbelief. Sungwoo flips the script literally. He spins mid-air, defying gravity, and unleashes a savage kick with his free leg. Bam! That foot connects square with Ryo's grill. You can practically feel the shockwave ripple through the entire arena. The impact is immense. Ryo gets launched backward, ragdolled through the air, but just before he hits the dirt, he pulls a sick handspring, sticking the landing like a cat. Meanwhile, Sung Woo touches down, light as a feather, his breathing totally steady. He scans Ryo and finally sees it, a tiny glitch in the champion's ego. Sung Woo's mind clears instantly. He plots the finish, one solid kick to the calf and it's game over. But Ryo isn't tapping out yet. He bounces back up, shifting into a completely new battle stance. He locks eyes with Sung Woo, a toxic mix of respect and pure venom. He spits out, "Your moves are freakish. Okay, you shook me, but gloves are off. Now I treat you like a rabid dog." Something inside Ryo just snapped. He's not a fighter anymore. He's a machine. His speed jumps to god-tier levels. Sung Woo can't even blink. Ryo closes the gap, instantly entering the kill zone before Sung Woo can process. A fist rockets towards Sung Woo. He dodges on pure instinct, but the speed difference is terrifying now. A dark thought flashes through Sung Woo's mind. Is this the juice kicking in? Is he doped up? Ryo doesn't give him room to breathe. He cocks his fist back for a follow-up. Sung Woo calculates fast. He's swinging again. I can slip this and counter. But Ryo flips the script. He feints the punch and instead lunges forward with a brutal headbutt. Nobody saw that coming. Sung Woo is caught completely lacking. His brain is scrambling, trying to reboot, but Ryo wastes 0 frames. He ruthlessly drives a heavy fist straight into Sung Woo's gut. The crowd goes dead silent. The hit is so heavy that Sung Woo's vision flickers to black. His body screams, but his mind is still fighting. He tells himself, "Wake up right now or you're finished." But Ryo is relentless, denying him a second of recovery. Ryo's fists are clenched, tight eyes, cold as ice. He growls, "From here on out, not even your guts can save you." Then comes the storm, a rapid-fire barrage of punches raining on Sung Woo. Every hit lands like a sledgehammer. Sung Woo's ribs are basically crying for mercy, twisting with every impact. His torso is painting itself purple with bruises. Blood spills from his mouth, and a raw groan escapes his lips. Ryo doesn't stop. He steps back and launches a nuke of a kick to the stomach. Pure focus, pure power. The impact is so massive, the air ripples and the stadium floor literally shakes. Blood drips from Sung Woo's lips. It looks like the finale. Ryo stares down, convinced he's wrapped this up. It was tough, but it's done. Up in the VIP box, manager Yang-gu is losing his absolute mind. Manic energy in his eyes, a creepy grin stretching across his face. He thinks he owns the tournament now, believing Joan is out of the picture. But in the other VIP suite, John sits there stone-cold chill. With a slight smirk, she knew the script wasn't finished. She still had all her chips on Sung Woo. And right on cue, a twisted demon-like smile creeps across Sung Woo's face. It's so terrifying it sends a ripple of fear through the crowd. You can feel the vibe shift. Sung Woo isn't done yet. He was playing possum the whole time. Suddenly his hand shoots up, locking onto Ryo's leg that was still pinned to his chest. Annoyance flashes. In Ryo's eyes, he realizes he got played, but figures it won't change the ending. Result stays the same, he thinks. But before Ryo can twitch, Sung Woo delivers a savage headbutt of his own. It's so fast and violent that Ryo stumbles back, equilibrium shattered. He can't process it. What the hell does this guy train his skull to? Sung Woo isn't pausing for applause. He starts circling Ryo like a predator stalking fresh meat. Every move is feral, driven by pure instinct. He's not human right now. He's a beast. Ryo grits his teeth watching. Sung Woo isn't moving like an animal. He's fighting like a straight-up monster. Ryo's mind is racing. How is he still standing? His insides should be soup. The constant motion starts making Ryo woozy. Maybe it's the side effects of the juice kicking in. He just keeps wondering how. He needed to stuff this attack fast. Just one counter, and it's game over. But then, Sung Woo spots a pixel-perfect opening. Bursting forward with blinding speed, he closes the gap, launching a low kick straight for the calf. Ryu's locked in, though. He drops his level, snatches Sung Woo's leg, and thinks he's secured the bag. Ryu preps a nasty counter, but Sung Woo's got an ace up his sleeve. With a violent jerk, he rips his leg back. The force shreds his pant leg, sending fabric flying like confetti, blinding Ryu for a split second. Sung Woo doesn't hesitate. He spins on a dime, reloading that same calf kick with lethal precision. This time, he puts his whole soul into it. Ryu sees it coming, but his reaction time is fried. He braces for impact, thinking he can tank it, but the kinetic energy is off the charts. Ryu's shin bone snaps like a twig. The crack is sickening, loud enough to echo through the entire arena. Ryu's right leg is absolute toast. He's wobbling, balance gone. Up in the VIP box, manager Yang Woo is practically tearing his hair out. He can't process that Sung Woo just shattered Ryu's leg. But Ryu, the guy's a monster, balancing on his one good leg. He grabs Sung Woo in a death grip. His face is a mask of agony, but that stubborn rage is fueling him. Summoning every last drop of HP, Ryu buries a massive punch right into Sung Woo's gut. It sounded like a cannon shot, sending shockwaves through the stadium. Sung Woo stumbles, body seizing up, but he grits his teeth and eats the damage. Blood spills from his mouth, but the fire in his eyes, that hasn't gone out. He's still in the fight. Sung Woo instantly pushes forward, ghosting behind Ryu to deliver another devastating calf kick, targeting the only good leg left. The impact is brutal. Ryu lets out a gut-wrenching scream as his other leg gives out. Game over. He drops like a sack of bricks, hitting the canvas with a heavy thud. Sung Woo looms over him, ready to claim the W. But then, his own body betrays him. More blood gushes from his mouth. His insides are wrecked. The damage gauge is full. Sung Woo collapses right next to his opponent. A chilling silence falls over the arena. Both fighters are down, lights out on the floor. Broken bodies, blood everywhere. The crowd is dead silent, trying to figure out if there's even a winner in this bloodbath. Right on cue, a drone buzzes over the pit, scanning the fallen warriors. With its cold digital eye, it runs the diagnostics on both fighters without missing a beat. After processing the data, the verdict drops. Ryu is physically unable to continue. Sung Woo takes the crown. He lets out a long, ragged breath, relief washing over his battered face. But it feels like a hollow victory. His body is totally unresponsive, limbs heavy, like they're filled with concrete. The exhaustion hits him hard, sending the world spinning into vertigo. While Sung Woo goes down in the ring, the tension in the VIP suite is skyrocketing. Manager Yang Woo's face is twisted with pure rage. He's staring at the scene in total disbelief. He refuses to accept a Sung Woo victory. His voice cracks sharp with anger echoing his meltdown. But John, she's a vibe shift, totally calm, composed, rocking a confident smirk. She knew Sung Woo had this in the bag. She watches the chaos unfold, with cool satisfaction. As the drone's announcement rings out, Sung Woo's body finally shuts down. The adrenaline crash knocks him out cold. He face plants onto the cold concrete, motionless. Manager Yang Woo is still reeling from the shock, and seeing Sung Woo collapse gives him a glimmer of hope. He assumes Sung Woo's condition is just as critical as Ryu's, a double knockout scenario. But Kim cuts in smoothly, explaining that Sung Woo didn't fall from damage, his system just rebooted. From extreme stamina, drain, not an attack. Even Joan's bodyguard looks a little shook, eyes glued to Sung Woo's unconscious form. Joan's attention, however, snaps to her tablet. That smug look fades into genuine concern. Something's glitching. The prize pool isn't ticking up. That means the whales, the people who usually bet big on the winner, didn't put a dime on Sung Woo. The bodyguard clocks the issue instantly. He breaks it down. Nobody bets on a fighter who looks like he's dying. With the round of 31 officially wrapped, the game changed. Qualifiers for the round of 16 weren't about skill anymore. It was strictly about the prize pool. He swiped through the interface, locking onto Sang Woo's stats. His fingers flew across the device with nervous energy. The vibe in the room plummeted. Sung Woo is dead last on the leaderboard. If the elimination announcement drops right now, Sung Woo is toast. The guy might not even be conscious enough to defend himself. The bodyguard shot a grim look at Jong. It's not just an elimination. If he goes, your VIP selection gets voided too. We'd be scrambling to find a replacement fighter from scratch. John didn't flinch. His expression was a total poker face. His brain was running a mile a minute. Finally, he cut to the chase. How much liquid cash can we access right now? The bodyguard choked on a breath. He realized exactly what play John was about to make. He was seriously considering bankrolling this with his own fortune. John's voice remained ice cold. If the prize pool is the only hurdle, I'm putting my own capital on the table for her. This wasn't a gamble. It was a power move. The bodyguard visibly tensed up. He started to hesitate. What if the cash just burns? But John shut him down with a look, turning his gaze to the arena floor. Showtime. The drone buzzed to center stage, hovering ominously over the silence. The mechanical voice boomed through the speakers, announcing the briefing for the round of 16 was starting immediately. All 31 survivors were summoned to the floor. The massive gates groaned open, flooding the dark tunnel with blinding light. One by one, the fighters stepped into the spotlight. Silent guide drones floated alongside them like ghosts. Mingo strode into the arena, radiating pure, quiet intensity. His eyes instantly locked onto a heap on the floor. Sung Woo still passed out cold. Mingo's jaw went tight. He clenched his fists. Seriously, why is this moron taking a nap right in the middle of the arena? Rage bubbled up in his chest. Someone needs to wake his sorry self up before the next round kicks off. But before he could react, the giant jumbotron overlooking the arena flickered to life. The static cleared, revealing the director. He threw his arms wide, soaking up the drama like a conductor. Welcome. His voice crackled with manic energy. He hyped up the 31 victorious players and gave a special shout out to the 16 VIPs watching from above, calling their presence absolutely legendary. The VIP feed cut in. Faces popped up on the screen in crisp high def. First up, Manager Yanggu, looking grim as ever, panning all the way to Jong, whose piercing gaze looked sharp enough to cut glass. The director was loving every second of this, keeping the suspense high. He didn't waste time getting to the twist. He dropped the bomb, making the cut for the round of 16 is now strictly a numbers game. It all depends on the prize money. He held up 3 fingers with a smirk. The message to the VIPs was clear. Start betting on the fighters you expect to rake in the cash. You're on the clock, he taunted. 30 seconds to place your bets. The countdown started ticking the second the numbers hit the massive screen. Zhang snapped her head toward her bodyguard. No hesitation. She needed the numbers, and she needed them now. Give me the spread, she demanded. What's the gap between Sung Woo